Oh, let's absolutely slap this out because the game is about to start in 4 minutes' time. We are live. Hey guys, how you going? And today on BK Sport, we've absolutely slapped through 2 games already, and it's been a wild day of rugby league. The Dragons getting a big upset over the Sharks, which keeps them down there in the top 8 battle. Doesn't take them above the Warriors in this game. The Sharks are back in that 8 battle, and the Dragons keep their season alive too. And then we just witnessed the Roosters absolutely slap, tickle, fiddle, smoke the Dolphins up at Suncorp 64-12, which keeps that top 8 battle well and truly alive, with the Roosters now being equal with the Dolphins. Keeps the Warriors in play to potentially miss out too. Like, it's crazy. We'll get into that in a second. So there's been a huge day, and this is 3rd versus 5th, man. So you can't get better than today's day of rugby league. Now, guys, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. And let's get rocking and rolling. So the Bulldogs, this is Indigenous round, so I will try and pronounce the names of the Indigenous communities. So the Bulldogs, they come to this game from 3rd position, and they are the Darug, Bidjigal/Bediagal people. And the Warriors, obviously, Aotearoa, and they come into this game from 5th position. This is at Accor Stadium in Sydney, the home of the Parramattagal and Wangal peoples. And the ins here for the Bulldogs, Daniel Salukavafida, with the out being Mitchell Woods. The fullback is Jacob Kiraz. Obviously, Connor Tracy is injured right now. Kiraz is filling in at fullback, with the wingers being a bit of Tots Viti, Jethro Renakama, and Onaru Tuala, centers of Bronson Seri and Stephen Crichton, who is the captain. Then you go to the 5'8", Matt Burton, with the halfback being Lachlan Galvin. Go to the props of Max King and Samuel Hughes, with the number 9 being Bailey Hayward, coming in from the 17. He's now starting at 9. You go to the back row, Viliami Kikau, Vili Bombili, alongside Jacob Preston, and then Jamin Salmon is the lock. Interchange, Reed Marnie dropped from the 9 to the bench for the first time in years. Kurt Mann, Harry Hayes, and Josh Curran, with Daniel Salukavafida as the 18th man replacement, and Cameron Ciraldo is the coach. So really ballsy call there from Cameron Ciraldo to put Reed Marnie to the 14 and Bailey Hayward, who usually is the 13, into the starting 9 role. Really don't know about it, but in the wet weather of today, it's going to be super interesting. Now for the Warriors, the ins, big ins. Chanel Harris-Tavita, Dimitri Kavay-Malga, and big old James Fisher-Harris back into the team, with the outs being Edward Kosi, Jacob Laban, and my boy Tanner Boyd. Now the fullback is Tane Twapiki, with the wingers being Daniel Martinez-Lesniak and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Centers Adam Pompey and Chance Nickel-Klokstad. The 5'8", Harris-Tavita, he is back in, with the 7 being Tamati Martin, who comes in from the 14, starts in the 7 with Tanner Boyd being out. Front row forwards, Jackson Ford and James Fisher-Harris back into the team, with the number 9 being Freddie Lussick, who was originally the 18th man. Now he's in the starting hooker role. It was going to be Samuel Healy, but Freddie Lussick has got the start. Now the back row, Murata Niokore shifts from the 8 into the back row, alongside Kurt Catewell, and Aaron Clark is the 13. Interchange, Samuel Healy, he is now the 14 after starting as the 9 on the team list on Tuesday. Leka Hadasima has gone to the bench, interestingly enough. Dimitri Kavay-Malga and Tanner Stowers-Smith, with the 18th man replacement being Eddie Iremaya Tuava, who was originally meant to be the 15, now is the 18th man, and Andrew Webster is the coach. I don't know who to tip today. I will put my hands up and say, I don't have a clue, lad. Yes, I got the upset of the Roosters. I didn't get the upset of the Dragons, but I did say the Dragons would be up for it. I said Sharks 1-12, but the Sharks are scam, buddy, scammers. So I didn't get that one right. I don't know who to tip. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go the upset. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go the upset. I'm going to say the was. I just can't back the Bulldogs in the wet weather. If the Bulldogs come out and win the wet weather, great. They lost the Tigers in the wet weather last week. The Warriors have been on a slide. They lost the Dolphins last week. They've got players out galore, players in different positions. I don't know who to tip. I'm taking the Wires upset because I know the NRL this year is just full of damn well upsets. It's crazy. It's crazy how many upsets there are. So look, I could absolutely see the Bulldogs winning this game well, and I mean well. But I just think in the wet weather it's going to create a really low scoring grind, and I think the Warriors and Bulldogs both defensively are really strong. I don't know. I just get a bit of a vibe that maybe the Wards get up here. So, look, I think it's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, get into the chat and let me know your thoughts there. They're doing the Welcome to Country right now, and it is pouring down in Sydney. Now, the ladder very quickly. Bulldogs, 34 points. They are in 3rd position with plus 122 points differential. If they win this game, they will go equal with the Melbourne Storm in 2nd position on 36 points. 2 points behind the Raiders there in 1st. But the points differential of the Melbourne Storm is plus 248. So 136 points, or 126 points in between the Storm and the Bulldogs. So the highest the Bulldogs can go is into 3rd. and they will stay there, but they will be equal second and only 2 points away there from the Raiders, who are on plus 168 and on 38 points. If the Bulldogs lose this game, they will stay in third, so win or lose here today, they will stay third. However, they'll only be 3 points above the Panthers, but they will only be 2 points above the Warriors, who with a win would be on 32 points there. So the Warriors' points differential is not really a worry for them right now, but the point of the matter is, Jesus, pouring down in Sydney at the moment. If the Bulldogs lose, Warriors will be within 2 points, but they will stay in third, right? So they will, no matter what, move from their position today. The Warriors, on the other hand, now this is massive because the games today have provided a lot of context here. If the Sharks had have won, the Warriors would have gone down to 6th, and the Dolphins had have won, they would have been 2 points away from the Dolphins. But the point of the matter is that with the Dolphins losing to the Roosters, there's now a 4-point gap between the Warriors and the Roosters in 9th position. Manly, luckily for them, lost to the Raiders yesterday, so that's a 6-point swing. But the point of the matter is that this is a very crucial point of the season for the Warriors, where they're not winning a great deal of games, and they're trying to fight for the top 4, but they should also be concerned about the top 8 battle right now. So you're focusing on the top 4, that's great, but you've got to be careful about that top 8, because it's creeping closer to you, especially if you lose today. But if the Warriors win this game, they're on 30 points. They go above the Panthers into the top 4 on 32 points. The Panthers are on 31 points. They go back to 5th. The points differential of plus 26 for the Warriors is just not good. It's just simply not good. So that is a concern for them for sure. But if they win this game, they're locked into the top 8. It's a guarantee. And then they put themselves back into the top 4 with 4 games to go after this one. Now, if the Warriors lose this game, the Sharks lost, the Dolphins lost, the Broncos lost, the Roosters won, and Manly lost. The Dragons won, that kind of puts them into the range, not of the Warriors, but of the top 8. So the Warriors will stay in 5th position. But next week, the Broncos and Dolphins play each other. So if the Broncos win, they will go above the Warriors. If the Dolphins win, they'll only be 2 points short of the Warriors. And I don't know who the Warriors actually play next week, but actually, I'm going to quickly have a look here. I'm going to have a quick little look-ski at who the Warriors do play next week in round 24. They play the Dragons. Wow, that's a very interesting game now. Yet today's game made that a very interesting game, especially if the Warriors lose this. Game hasn't kicked off yet, guys, so don't worry. Now, if the Warriors lose this, the Sharks next week play the Titans and then have a bye. Now, the Sharks with their bye are actually above you with their points differential, but not by great margin. And the Roosters, their points differential is now well above you with their 64-6 win over the Dolphins. So Dolphins have a much better points differential than you. So do the Roosters. So do the Broncos. Sharks not too far away from you. You're ahead of the Manly Seagulls, though. You're in a bit of a scary situation. So win this game today was, or you're in a situation. But guys, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Pouring down rain here in Sydney. The Bulldogs will start with the ball maxing at the 15. Jeez, this is wet. Jeez, this is a wet weather game, lads. Wowee. If you can hold on to the ball today, it's going to be impressive. It's going to be really impressive. All right, second tackle now for the Bulldogs to the 15. If you're betting on this game, you'd have to be going the under for sure. Surely there's not a lot of points in this game. They're both very good defensive teams for the most part. And it's just ridiculous wet weather. So third tackle, and Matt Burton's going to kick this one down, test out the air game, and it will be Tane Twelpiki who brings it out of the 40 on first tackle. Dasmate says, up at the Durrug, Bitchigal Berries. Joshua Price says, and I picked the Bulldogs. Get around you, Josh. GT says, up the Waz, avenge your Dolphins brothers. You would, what? GT is a Dolphins fan. Dylan Martinez Lesnack is trying to claim a high tackle here. As a Dolphins fan, you should absolutely be wanting the Bulldogs to win this game. There's no way you'd want the Warriors to win this game because that will put the Warriors out of your range into 6 points above you. You absolutely want the Warriors to lose this game here today as a Dolphins fan, GT. This might be a high tackle penalty here. This may be a penalty. And he's on report, so it is going to be a penalty here to the Warriors. Huge penalty to get them into range. Wow, this is going to be wet weather footy at its peak. Bizza Critter says, I just found out now that Harris Avita is from the same place as my great-grandma. Well, there you go. Whereabouts is that? Darren Wollongong says, Doggy's got this. Nathan Barber says, up the Wires, go the Warriors. You got this from a Sydney Roosters diehard fan. Get around you. Patch says, Warriors in a big game from Fish. Roosters don't want the Warriors to win. Guys, why would the Roosters want the Warriors to win? The Roosters can still catch the Warriors. The Roosters can still catch him. You want the Bulldogs to win. If you are battling for the top 8 right now, if you are any of the Sharks, Broncos, that's a knock on there from the Warriors. And the Dogs will get the ball at the 35. He wants to challenge it. It's an early challenge if he does. He's going to challenge it to a minute and a half in here, Fish. This is big. In wet weather, you better be confident. A minute and a half in, James Fisher-Harris is going to call the challenge here for the Warriors to say that this was stripped and not a knock-on. Jeez, this is a controversial challenge. He's got his hand there. That is a strip. He's right. Successful challenge. This will be a penalty to the Warriors. Challenge, successful penalty to the Warriors. Guys, if you are a Dolphins, Sharks, Broncos, Roosters, Manly fan, all of you want the Warriors to lose this game. You don't want the Warriors to win this game. It's just not something that you should be thinking about if you want your team to be a better chance of making the top 8. But if you're anybody else, like if you're like anyone down like Dragons and below, then yeah, I'm going to be getting behind. I tipped the Wires here today, and it's a bit of a soft spot and all that kind of stuff for a lot of people. But then again, if you're a Raiders or a Storm fan, then you would a Raiders, Storm, or Panthers fan, you definitely want the Bulldogs to win over the Warriors. No, so the Warriors to win over the Bulldogs. Warriors to win over the Bulldogs. Because I think Panthers would be looking towards trying to overtake the Bulldogs there. They're going to go for the 2 here, the Wires. They're going to go for the 2, Adam Pompey. Adam Pompey going for the 2 here for the Warriors. Interesting decision, but it is just a little bit to the left, right, about 30 metres out. Nathan Bubba says, my fault, all good. No, you're all good, man. I'm just kind of helping you understand it more. I'm very passionate in the way that I speak about it. Mitchell says, whoever's the least shit will win. Thank you, Mitchell. Thank you, mate. Really intellectual comment, that. All right, it's Adam Pompey here from 30 metres out, pouring down rain, 3 minutes in to try and make it a 2-0 ball game, and every point will matter in this one. And he will get the kick, so it is 2-0 to the Warriors. And there is a large amount of Warriors fans in this game. Wow, you can hear them. You can hear them. I reckon this game would have been like 60,000 if it wasn't pouring down rain. This is miserable conditions. This would have been a massive attended game. There would have been a lot of people at this game, but unfortunately it's really withheld. Mitchell says, don't know if anyone knows, but Galvin is playing. Oh, wow. They haven't told us what he had for breakfast, which is pretty disappointing. Yeah, no, I'm disappointed by that, but I'm going to assume they're going to tell us at some point here today. And if they don't tell us at some point, it's probably because they're talking about what he's going to have for dinner tonight and then maybe for dessert. And I'm thinking maybe you go and get an apple pie from McDonald's. I reckon that could be the shout there for Galvin today. But we'll obviously have to wait for the intellectual commentary to let us know if Galvin is going to utilise... if he's going to actually jump in the car and drive, or if he's going to be in the seat next to it. I don't really know yet. We're going to see if Ezra is going to drive first. Third tackle now for the Warriors at the 33 on their own side of the field. Sean says, is it raining for the game or just a wet paddock? It is pouring down rain. 4 tackle here at the 40. Pouring. That jersey is sexual, by the way. Some good jerseys here today. Some good jerseys. Casey says, because there's probably as much Warriors fans there as Bulldogs fans today. Well, yeah, especially in the wet weather. And now the Dogs will pick this ball here at the 20. Assert dominance, take the 2. Take the 2, Jay. It's always the Dragons' way. But he's a Weet-Bix kid. That makes sense. Mark Parkinson, is Boyd out? Yeah, Boyd's out. So it's Tamati Martin in the 7 and Channel Harris-Tavita in the 6 and a penalty to the Dogs at the 30. Channel Harris-Tavita in the 6, Tamati Martin in the 7, Tanner Boyd is out, and Dogs will get the penalty at the 30. He's staying in and getting DoorDash. Listen, it's a potential. The DoorDash does sponsor the NRL, but I do think that if he's going to get DoorDash, he may as well order KFC because the Dogs do sponsor him. But he does have a pretty shit haircut, so if you have a shit haircut, you've got to think he's going to get a bit of a different kind of meal tonight. He's probably going to go away from off the grain, go a little bit indie, a little bit hipster. Don't know what he'll get. Maybe, not too sure what he'll get there. Second tackle now at the 28 for the Dogs. And Bailey Hayward's going to go right-hand side onto Galvin. Galvin to Kiraz, and that's a high tackle. That's a high tackle. Yep, penalty. And if the Dogs are serious, they probably take the 2 here to make it 2-2. They probably make it 2-2. I would do that if I was the Dogs. That is definitely a high tackle, though. Mitchell says, apple pie's a little hard. He might choke. Fox can't have that happening. Can't have it happening. Maybe go for the ice cream, then. Been out for about 5 years, mate. What's been out for about 5 years? Oh, Darius Boyd's out. Yeah, Darius Boyd is out of this game, Daz, mate. Thank you for letting Mark know. Mark Parkinson, we're just making sure you know Darius Boyd is out, yeah. He's out of this game. All right. So kick from basically in front here, and this is starting to look a lot like a rugby union game at this point. We're starting to look a lot like a rugby union game at this point, lads. All right, I'm going to update this ladder. While he's taking this kick, I'm just going to update the ladder. It's not going to make any changes to the table, except for the amount of games played so you can see it. Because no one actually jumped up or went down today that you can see. But you will get an update about how many games are played and the Roosters being on 26 points. Oh, jeez, I'm going to have to fix that now. Oh, my gosh, what have you done, Roosters? What have you done? So Bulldogs lining up the kick here. Whoever wins this game, by the way, comes off a fraud alert between the Dogs and the Warriors, mind you. And the Dogs will get the kick. So it is 2-2. 7 minutes into the game. 2-2. All right, let me fix this. Jeez, every one of you cats are on fraud alert at the moment. What are you doing? Top 8. What are you doing? What's happening? Top 8. What a joke. But 2-2 is the score. Let's move that across. Manly, don't even think you can get off fraud alert. Not after what I've watched the last couple of weeks. 7 minutes in. Mark says hopefully he stays at your church. No, we love the old ton. Mr. Akori says, Wires look appealing to me tonight. Up the Wires. I did tip the upset. I think this is a low-scoring game. The 2 penalties have suggested that both these teams are thinking the same thing. It's pouring down rain. The Bulldogs have been shaky recently. The Warriors have been shaky for a while now. This is a game that whoever has the best defense wins because the attack isn't going to be fruitful. We're not going to see 64-6 like the Roosters-Dolphins game. We're going to see like a 10-8 or a 14-12 kind of deal. And 14-12 might be even still too many points. There's going to be a lot of knock-ons today. It's going to be a grind. And both these teams are very good defensive teams. The Bulldogs will have the ball here at the 35, mind you, third tackle. But the Bulldogs are 320 points against them. Warriors 383. So the Warriors are in the 5th best defense. No, the 4th best defense in the competition, whilst the Bulldogs are the best defense in the competition. So if you want to go via that metric, you're probably tipping the Dogs here. But, you know, both these teams are the same team this year. People don't realise this. Third tackle here for the Warriors at the 40. If you want a serious conversation, then you're going to listen seriously when I say the Bulldogs and the Warriors are the exact same team this year. Both teams struggle with points, but both teams are great defensively. Both teams are in the top 4 based off their defence. Both teams are not in the top 4 based off their attack. Argue it. Because the Warriors are in the top 4 for defense, and so are the Bulldogs. Bulldogs have scored 442 points, which is worse than the Raiders, the Storm, the Panthers, the Broncos, the Sharks, the Dolphins, the Roosters, the Dragons, and they're close to the Titans, but like it's still above them. So they're just outside the top 8 for attack, the Bulldogs, and the Warriors are at 409, which is even worse. And that's going to be a penalty to the Bulldogs here. Big penalty to the Bulldogs coming out of their own line at the 30. 10 minutes into the first half here, guys. 30 minutes to go at the first half. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. This will be at the 30 on their own side of the field here. Penalty for the Dogs. And then attacking-wise for the Warriors, they're at 409, which is worse than the Raiders, the Storm, the Bulldogs, the Panthers, the Broncos, the Sharks, the Dolphins, the Roosters, the Seagulls, the Dragons, the Cowboys, and just ahead of the Titans. So if you'd like to argue and say that the Dogs know how to attack or the Warriors know how to attack and it's not just based on defense, please let me know how, because those stats tell you otherwise. And they're the same kind of team. Second tackle now for the Bulldogs at the 38. Joseph says it's going to come down to who can secure that ball tonight, which will determine who wins. Skills won't matter if you can hold it down on a rainy night. Absolutely. And it's going to be Jacob Kiraz. No, Bronson Seri, sorry. He'll get this ball to the 32. Third tackle. Giant Tanner says, 6 again for the Dogs at the 32. What team do you reckon's been the most disappointing this year, mate? Sharks. Sharks for sure for mine. I know they're in the top 8, but it's got to be the Sharks. It's got to be the Sharks. I tipped them to win the comp. They got a big signing of Adam Fanua-Blake. It was huge. Second tackle now for the Dogs at the 13. And they've regressed. They have regressed in a lot of ways and then lost to the Dragons today. So I'd have to say to the Sharks, despite the fact they're in the 8. All right, so it's going to be... is that Bailey Hayward? No, who is that? Oh, it's Jamin Salmon, who got whacked at the 15. Third tackle over the Dogs. Bailey Hayward runs it straight into the dummy and knock on. Knock on from the Dogs, and the Warriors going to get the ball at the 10. Get used to this today, guys. You're going to see a lot of it. Jimmy James said it's bucketing down. Not good for the doggies. Not good for anyone, really. But yeah, definitely not for the dogs. The dogs did come out this week and say we want to prove ourselves in the rain. Beautiful. Well, this is the perfect one for you because I haven't seen a game this wet since bloody Titans versus Sharks like 7-8 years ago. Or Sharks at Cronulla as well against the Roosters, I think it was maybe. Mike says dogs will follow the Warriors. Well, you're not looking at the weather. Dasmo says, yeah, good one. Mitchell says, I heard the New South Wales government hired a rain machine every time the dogs play so they don't win the comp so New South Wales doesn't get burnt down. True story. Probably is a true story because if the dogs win the comp, I'm telling you, Bulldogs, Belmore will cease to exist and Sydney, if you thought that the protests the other day were big, I'm telling you, you will have people stealing animals from zoos and riding them down the middle of of downtown Sydney over across the Sydney Harbour Bridge and around the Opera House. Because that's what happened when Philadelphia won the Super Bowl, and that's what will happen if Detroit do it. But a penalty to the Warriors at the 22. The state of Sydney should be terrified if the Bulldogs win the comp. Should be terrified. Terrified. Don't do it to us, Joseph. How dare you say something so disgraceful? I say the Storm Panthers final. If it's a Storm Panthers final, I'm going to physically vomit on the camera during the grand final. No, I'll do it in the prelims, actually, when I see it happen. I will physically vomit your direction if I see the Storm and the Panthers in the grand final again. Who have the Panthers beaten besides the Bulldogs? Wait for these next 3 weeks. Wait for these next 3 weeks against the Bulldogs next week, the Storm... No, sorry, it's Storm next week for the Panthers, and then the Bulldogs, and then the Raiders. Let's see them against those three teams, because who are they beating? Who are they beating right now? Nathan Barber says, can the West Tigers still make the top 8, or they can't make it, I think, No. They can, but they can't. They're not going to. 4 tackled here at the 30. Their points differential is just way too far out. Tamati Martin at the back now to... Channel Harris to Vida. Harris to Vida at the 28. He'll flick it off to Tamati Martin. Tamati Martin kicks his ball through here with Dallin Martinez to Lesnak. The ball's a good one, but it's going to be grabbed by the Dogs at the 3. Jethro Renakama did well to grab that one in. Dasmo says the New South Wales Premier is a Dogs fan. So that's why they're doing well this year, Daz. All right, you've just absolutely put yourself in the cheating category. Hella says, bro, I really like your live chat. I'm watching all the way from Goroka in Papua New Guinea. Get around your Papua New Guinea, man. Appreciate you for tuning in. We love you guys there. Oh, my gosh, Matt Burton. That is absolutely incredible. That is absolutely incredible from Matt Burton. That is a 2020 in the wet weather, and he kicked it on 3rd tackle. That is a 2020, not a 40-20. Not a 40-20, that is a 2020. Do you understand how big that kick is? That kick is insane from Matt Burton in these weather conditions. It was 11. It's gone to the 11. It's gone to the 11. So Dogs now 5 metres out from the line. Samuel Hughes. Oh, he's close 1 metre out. First tackle here with the Dogs. Jeez, that even deserves a try. And it's owned that kick from Matt Burton just then. All right, Max King. He's 8 metres out from the line. Second tackle. Ilya says, was it 2004? I was in Sydney and the city went mad. Random hotels. Dogs here kicking through for Bronson Seri. Is this a dropout? Did he touch that? Yeah, it's off Warriors. So it will be a dropout here from the Warriors and the Bulldogs. Was it 2004? So the Dogs won in 2004. I was in Sydney and the city went mad. Random hotels were blasting. Who let the Dogs out of it was a vibe. Yeah, it was 2004. It will be worse now, by the way. So yes, you're right. It is a dropout. Yes, you are right. It would have been absolutely crazy back then. I was a bit young at the time. I was about 10 years old. My grandfather, my poppy, was a Dogs fan, so I remember it. But that's going out in the full. That has gone out in the full there, so it's just going to be Dogs ball at the 10. It was contestable. But it'll be worse now, especially with social media and stuff like that. Like Sydney will be nuts, bro. Sydney would be nuts. Oh, they're going to say it wasn't contestable. What? I don't believe it was contestable, but we've seen things that haven't even been close to being contestable, being called contestable. Be consistent with it. So the Dogs are going to get a penalty from right in front here. I'm sorry, I just don't understand what's contestable and what's not, though, now. Because we've seen so many times where we're like, oh, well, how was it contestable if it was at the 5? That one goes over the sideline there, and it's like, sure, but that's not what you call usually. It's just about consistency. I'm like, sure, if that's what you want to call that call and say it wasn't contestable, that's great. But call all the other ones the same way. I disagree with how they've dealt with that, but it's going to be 4-2 to the Bulldogs here with the kick from right in front. Sean James, if the Dogs in the final playing the other team, winning, of course, then party, party, party. God help us. Dave Trav watching in Croatia. Get around you all the way in Croatia, Dogs fans. Helen says, I support the Bulldogs. Go, Dogs, go. Well, they're about to take the lead here at 4-2. Interesting game, the first 7-8 minutes. It's our longest premiership drought we've had. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of fans that feel sympathetic for you. I know the Warriors fans couldn't care less that it's the longest drought because they've never won before. So their drought is a little longer. So it's going to be 4-2 to the Dogs. They get the kick from right in front. And this is a rugby union game if you ever did see one. But it has to be. In this weather conditions, it just simply has to be, dude. It just simply has to be. Dogs have to attack in the wet. No, taking the 2 points is always the best option in these conditions. Always the best option in these conditions. Dion says up the Dogs. Yeah, well, they take the lead here, but this game is going to be a very strategically played game. Very strategically. Sean says take 2. Thank you, Sean. They did decide to take the 2 about 4 minutes ago, and they've already actually gotten the 2, and they're already actually on to their next set. So it's great advice you've given. They already took it about 3 minutes ago. So first tackle now for the Dogs at the 15. And they'll get it out to Samuel Hughes. He'll be at the 20. Jex says, where is this rule written down? Do refs write rules now? So, Jex, I noticed that you like to complain about referees. Not that I disagree a whole heap with it. But this is a rule. That is a rule where you have to make the kicks contestable. So, yes, to answer your question, there is a rule written down. But it's very not black and white. It's very open to perspective. It's very open to opinion. So that's where I agree that you can disagree with it because there's too much openness about the ruling. But it's about whether the referee decides whether a kick was contestable or not contestable. And it's like they will call that contestable majority of the time, but yet they've called that not contestable in this game. And that's where my criticism comes from, where it's like the rule's fine. If you want to call that a penalty for not being contestable, that's fine, but be consistent with it. It's all about consistency. So the Warriors now will be with the ball around the 30 metres on their own side of the field. And they'll give it out to Samuel Healy and then to Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Not Samuel Healy, sorry. It's the Freddie Lussick. And then to Roger Tuivasa-Sheck at the 35. Out to Adam Pompey. And Pompey will be at the 42. Evan Six said this is going to be a game of chess. Absolutely. But well, you've already seen that's a charge down. That's offside if the Dogs touch it. That's offside against Preston. That's offside against Preston. Preston was well offside. Preston was well in front of him. I'm going to quickly go have a look at that. I want to see this again. Bro, that's insanity they haven't called that just then. That's actually insane. It's third tackle for the Dogs at the 25. Warriors fans, you should be very critical of that call. He was offside by about 5 metres and he's picked that ball up after touching a dog. That is 100% offside against Jacob Preston, but they didn't call it. So Lachlan Galvin kicks it through. That's not played at, but it's going to be... I'm sorry. The referees are giving some calls here to the Dogs. The referees are giving some big calls to the Dogs here. They've called it a 6 again. There was no way that was played at, and it's Dogs' ball here at the 10. I'm sorry. You've got to disagree with a couple of these officiating decisions. 20 minutes into the first half here, 20 minutes to go. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Wow, if the Dogs score here, it's really, really debatable. Third tackle, 8 metres away from the line. Bailey Hayward to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin now to Samuel Hughes. Hughes will be 4 metres out from the line, 4th tackle. I really hope the Warriors defend this because this is really harsh on them if there's a try here. Matt Burton at the back into Bronson Seri. Seri runs it across. Aaron Clark will make the tackle. Good tackle there. Murata Niokore, sorry, not Aaron Clark. Evan Six, that was blatant. It was insane how they didn't call that offside just then. Insane. Galvin kicks it through, and that's going to be a dropout here. Yeah, you know, you got to be upset if you're a Warriors fan at that. Travis says, and that's the problem that new rule brings. Infinite Kiwi says, put the window wipers on. Jeez, yeah, no, this is bad wet weather. John says, hang tough, Warriors. Well, now they put the ball into the air, so we'll see if the Bulldogs can come down with it. I just don't understand how you haven't seen that offside just then with Jacob Preston. He's 5 metres offside. It's not like it was close. He was 5 metres offside. Sean says, ref is on point tonight. Are you saying the ref's been good? If you are, please tell me how the referees have been good in those last couple of decisions. Brenton says dogs are a protected species. Well, there's just been a couple of really controversial calls against the Waz, but look, It's still early. Let's see. And they haven't scored. Samuel Hughes here at the 40. Ibby says, if Dogs lose to this version of Warriors, they're genuine scammers. Galvin now at the 25. There's a lot of context in this game. All right, Bailey Hayward to Stephen Crichton. Crichton now to Jacob Kiraz. Now, I'm actually going to get rid of that because I know that you're just doing it for a reaction. So they're going to be third tackle now at the 10. Try comment again, Sean. Third tackle. They go off to Jamin Salmon. Salmon across. Hits the grass. Bronson Serry will pick it up at the 15. And he'll get taken down 8 metres out from the line. Fourth tackle. Bailey Hayward goes left-hand side. Viliami kick out. He steps. Oh, I think this is going to be called a try. And it's going to be rough on you, Waz. I don't think a player has his hand on top of him. They'll probably check it in the bunker. But it just comes off of the back of some really bad calls against the Warriors. But it comes down to if a player has his hand over the top of Villy, because he does reach out. It's not necessarily just momentum here. So Villy goes down at the 3. Oh, this might be okay with this water, this wet weather. Oh, I don't know. This actually might be... Oh, I think momentum maybe gets him there. But his arm does come down really short there. I don't know, man. Like, at the end of the day, like, he comes down short and is sliding, but then you did see his arm move. Yeah, the commentary's talking about it too. Like, I'm sorry, but there's been some bad calls against the Waz here. You've seen him come down short, and then he's sliding, but then he's reached out for it as well. Like, it's 50-50, Jimmy James, but it's just like in the last... We've seen 3 pretty controversial calls in the last 5 minutes, which is ultimately the Dogs have scored now from. But Tamati Martin comes off for HIA, 17 minutes to go in the first half. Jexus looks double to me. I think he come damn short, like 2 metres short, 3 metres short, then was sliding, but you've still seen him progress the arm after being down on the ground, and a player was on top of him, and then they called it immediately a try. I just don't agree, but this is a big kick here to make it an 8-point game. Evan Kiwi says that dog turned into a fish. Casey says double movement to me. I hate that we're sitting here talking about the referees, though, but it's like you can't help it. You can't... It's like such a good game, and we're having to talk about the officials. And Crichton is going to miss the kick. So a bit of justice there keeps it a 1-score game. John says, no, it was all in one movement. Don't necessarily disagree. Don't necessarily agree. Again, I'm okay with it being called 50-50 from people. A lot of people saying here double movement. But like, I'm okay with people calling it 50-50. But he's definitely hit the ground there, and then he's reached out again. I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. Again, his arm goes down there. There's arms on top of him, and then he progresses his arms out. And it's like you could maybe make the argument of the momentum, but I don't think so. Like, I've got to say that probably should have been a no try. And the commentary's still talking about it too, saying it's probably a no try too, but it was a close call. And it is a close call, but there is a deliberate movement to progress him to the line. David says there have been some clangers in this one already. Absolutely. John Smith says, no, it's all in one movement. Try time, brother. That's great. You can sit there and pretend like it doesn't exist, and you can sit there and circle jerk the Dogs all you like. And the Dogs, sure, like they deserve to be up 4-2. There's no problem with that. But the issue is that when you're a realistic fan, you sit back and you look at it from a thought process where it's like, okay, well, maybe we scored the try, but it probably is a dodgy one that we'd flip out on if it was against us. So it's like, just... Look, listen, if you want to circle jerk them, go for it, but there's a reason why we're talking about it, and there's a reason why we're discussing it, and if you see it from one lens and just think that was an easy call and it was just straight up, well, then you're just simply biased. So Casey says, game's already over. As soon as I send the ref, old mate hates the Warriors with a passion. Like I'm a Titans fan, we're in first. So second tackle here for the Warriors, and they're at the 15. That was a big hit there from Stephen Crichton. And now the Warriors, like a Halasima on the field, he'll get this ball to the 20. It's still anyone's game. Absolutely, Ilya. It's well and truly on. Like, there's still 55 minutes to go of the game. Like, there's no confirmation of anything yet. It's just there's been some pretty harsh calls against the Warriors in this one. Aaron Clark, he'll get this ball here to the 40. Evan Six, the same, man. It's not the try that gets me. It's the terrible calls that led to it. I have no horse in this race, but, man, yeah, I agree. Well, the try also concerns me, but the 2 calls that led to it, yeah. So Jacob Kiraz, he'll get this ball at the 35. And I don't really care too much about the 6 again call. Knock on from the Dogs at the 35 on their own side of the field. Here's your chance, Warriors. I don't really care too much about them saying that there was played at for the Warriors on the 6 again. I mainly care about the Jacob Preston incident where he's offside by 5 metres and then the try. But anyways, it's going to be Warriors ball here at the 35. Warriors ball at the 35. 14 minutes to go in the first half. Mitchell says every ref hates everyone, apparently. I never say refs hate Titans. I usually say we're just bad. Or if I think there's bad calls in Titans games, I'll say it, but I don't think there's like a bias. But then again, it is what it is. Alright, so Warriors here at the 40, and then Leka Halasima. He's going to bring the ball to the 35 on first tackle. Here's your chance, Was. So they're going down trying to claim a high tackle here, Halasima. Grabbing at his eyes here. Galvin looking confused. And it will be just a head clash there. That'll be fine. They do sometimes penalise this, but I think they'll be fine. They do sometimes penalise this, but I think it should be fine. Halasima's going to have to come off here with a HIA. He's hit into his chest there. So Halasima has a reason to be like down. But I don't think anything will come from this. This is just very consistent heavy rain, by the way. Like very consistent heavy rain. Alright, so we're just waiting here. Waiting here to see... Okay, yeah, it is fine. It is fine. Now, I agree with it. I agree with the call. So 14 minutes left here in the game. Oh, the first half, sorry. But Halasima will have to come off the field. John says, no need to panic, Warriors. You will get some 50-50 calls go their way. Well, you'd hope that it'd start getting a bit of a move on because they haven't really received too much of a beneficial call so far this game. Yeah, this has been real dodgy in favour of the Dogs so far. Third tackle now at the 28. Halasima comes off for Stowers Smith. Warriors will go right-hand side. Freddie Lussick off to Aaron Clark, and Aaron Clark is going to be 22 metres out from the line. 25 metres out. Gets the offload away, though. In wet weather, that's a ballsy decision. And the Warriors will be taken down here at the 25 on 4 tackle. Well, it's really are in shambles. Yeah, because the officiating has been completely against them. 4 tackle here at the 18. And Freddie Lussick will go left-hand side to Chanel Harris to Vida. They get it back, hit it to Muddy... No, that's Tane Tuapiki, and he's 18 metres out. Fit tackle. Freddie Lussick then. Harris to Vida, puts that ball into the corner. Interesting one here. Knocked back from the Warriors. Kurt Catewell kicks it through. Played that, but Dogs will get the ball at the 3. And it's going to be first tackle here for Canterbury. Come off their own line. And left-hand side now to the 10, and it's going to be second tackle. This game's definitely going to go down to the wire, though. Mr. Akori says, Warriors still in this game, I'm sure, from a fan of Papua New Guinea. Oh, again, it's still 53 minutes to go of the game. It's only a 1-score game. Absolutely, anyone's still in this game. It's only a 1-score game with over half of the game to go. Nearly 3/4 of the game. Aaron Clark is my Dally M lock so far. Yeah, probably. I would agree. He would have banked up a lot of points this year. A lot of points. Dion says, have the Wires played in the wet this season? I don't think so too much. They're not usually known for a great wet weather team. But I don't know if they've played a game in the wet this year. They would have at some point, maybe. Someone can probably, a Warriors fan in the chat could probably let us know. And now third tackle, and it'll be Chance Newell Klookstad to the 35. Notice how John Smith shut up as soon as Lagan came, not saying anything, but... it's actually not... Yeah, it's not actually a good, bad point there, Brim. Fourth tackle at the 45. And now they'll kick that ball to the 20, but it will be picked up there by Jacob Kiraz, and he's going to bring this ball out here to the 25 on first tackle. Fatima, you're one to talk. Second tackle now at the 30. That's a good one from Jay. Out to Galvin. Galvin off to Renari Tuala, and Tuala will be at the 33 on third tackle. 33 on third tackle. And Hayward to Jacob Kiraz, and Kiraz is going to be at the 44 on fourth tackle. Get in, Jay. Give the uppercut. We didn't get an uppercut in that Dolphins versus Roosters game like we wanted, so you give it to him. Out to Galvin. And Galvin will put that one into the corner where we Roger Tuivasa-Sheck who picks it. He gives it off to Tane Tuapiki, and Tane Tuapiki will be at the 15 on first tackle. 10 minutes to go in the first half, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. 10 minutes to go here of the first half. Thumbs up and subscribe. Infinite Kiwi says not good this year in the wet stats-wise. And knock on there from Dallin Martinez-Zelezniak. Well, who were the games the Warriors played in the wet? I dead set can't remember. Who were the games they've played in the wet? Because I can tell you the Dogs games, but I can't remember the games that the Warriors have played in the wet. Dazman says, why am I hearing a Warriors chant, you cats? I think Bulldogs fans have probably just stayed at home, whilst the Warriors fans, maybe some of them travelled. I don't know. Made that account in case the Roosters didn't make 50, potentially. They played the Dolphins in the wet. Maybe, I can't remember. I would have watched it, but... Alright, so Stephen Crichton now. 18 metres out from the line. First tackle. 10 minutes left of the first half. Only a 6-point game. And Crichton's down trying to milk something. Oh, he's actually going for the lower leg. I thought he was trying to claim like a high tackle, but he's actually grabbing his lower leg. God bless him. I hope he's alright here. Wet weather can bring some bad injuries. Maybe he's just got a bit of a rolled ankle or something. Maybe his ankle is a problem here. Yeah, why don't you start Warriors chant, Daz, mate? Yeah, good idea. Good idea. There's nothing wrong with this tackle, so it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's just that first tackle at the 20 for the Dogs. Crop might be all right. All right, so first tackle, and at 23, I'm looking at Crichton. He looks like he's walking okay, so he should be fine. Second tackle now at the 15. How many chances does Webby give Dallin Martinez-Zelezniak? A lot of... This game is a bit of a forgiveness for drop ball. There's a knock-on from the Warriors, and it's going to be Dogs balls, 0 tackle, 28 metres out. I think this game you can't really complain about drop balls too much, but I understand your frustrations with Dallin. First tackle now for the Dogs, and they'll be at the 22. Not the defense is always his fault. Majority of the time it's actually the center's fault. Bailey Hayward gives it into Kurt Mann, and Viliami Kikau, he's going to be 15 metres out, second tackle. The Dogs have held on to the ball quite well for the most part today. Matt Burton to Bailey Hayward. Hayward off to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin at the back of Kurt Mann. And great tackle there by James Fisher-Harris. No, Jackson Ford, sorry. Huge tackle from Jackson Ford. Third tackle, Galvin into the line. Crichton, good passing. And Ari Tuwala will be taken down 7 metres out, fourth tackle. No, I haven't had anything to eat today, Brenton. I'm looking forward to after the stream's finished and grab something to eat. So Bailey Hayward out to Kurt Mann. At the 20, Matt Burton. He'll give it out to Bronson Seri. Seri gives it to Jethro Rinakama for the try time in the corner. And it's 12-2 here with a kick to come. 8.5 minutes to go here of the first half. And the Dogs will kind of score their first legitimate try of the game. But it is a good try there from the Dogs. And Jethro Rinakama, instead of running there, he just slid there. He just decided to slide there. And that was the right decision because he was always going to get to it. So... and they did have some good space. And see, this is what I mean. This is what I mean when I say it's not always Dallin's fault. I guarantee you that you're going to go onto the NRL Instagram, you're going to see on Twitter, and people are going to say, why the fuck is Dallin off his line? Well, look at the centre here. Look where the centre is. Look where the centre is. They are well and truly in. Dallin is on the inside man because the centre is in Timbuktu for the Warriors. Like, geez, and yet Dallin's going to be the one to cop the defensive slander because most people do not understand that the defensive structure of the Warriors out on that right-hand side, you're seeing the centre and the back rower closer to row Z on the other side of the field than where they should be defending on their side of the field. And I'm not saying that Dallin's a good defender, but I'm saying that people need to stop criticising his defence only and saying that he's the reason the Warriors keep conceding tries on the right-hand edge. It's because your centre and your second rower are always always going that way. So then Dallon's either got to go inwards with them, which leaves the wing open, or he stays in his wing and they score on the inside. That time he decided to go over the inside. They were all the way over here. He goes to the centre inside, and then the winger is free and Jethro Renakama. But yet Warriors fans love to blame Dallon, and I'm not having to go at the person who replied and said about Dallon before, but Warriors fans love to say that it's all Dallon on defense. That try right there is a prime example of your centre and back rower being 30 million yards inside the middle of the field. And that will be a good kick from Crichton, so it's going to be a 14-2 ball game with 7 minutes to go the first half. And there you go. And Welby says Dallin Martinez is Lesniak, the human turnstile. How on earth are you blaming Dallin for that? How do you blame Dallin for that? Please explain to me how that try is on Dallin Martinez and Lesniak. I don't understand it. I don't understand how people then immediately will blame Dallin for that. I don't get it. Trust your inside man, get him out. Logan says, kick out in Renakama should have a perler in these Fiji-like conditions. They love wet weather rugby. Fiji-like conditions. Oh, that's a drop ball there from the Dogs, but it does go backwards. Bretton says, down the villain. Absolutely, dude. You know, people don't look at what's happening on the inside and just look at, they say, oh, he's a winger, and this happens at every club. Everyone goes, winger, stay on your wing. It's like, well, shit. If my centre and back rower have gone inside, there's going to be a centre completely free right there. So they're going to score on the inside of me, and then you're probably going to say that it's still probably the winger's fault. But if he does come inside and goes to the centre because the centre and the winger is actually on the inside defending, well, then the winger's going to be open, and guess what? It's still going to be on the winger's fault. People don't understand how to read defensive plays in regards to the team and whose responsibility it is. That try there, Dallin had no choice but to come inside. No choice. Winger defend winger. No, Andrew, that's not how it works. That's not how this sport works. If you defend your winger and the centre has gone inside, well, guess what? The centre's going to be completely free and they're going to score immediately right on through. The whole point of a defensive structure is that if the centre's coming in, you come in with your team. Otherwise, they're going to score on the inside. If you stay on your wing, they're going to score there. But if you come in with your team, well, then they've got to force the pass over to the winger. And then that is on your defensive structure coming across. That's not how it works, Andrew. You've watched it well and truly enough rugby league, Andrew. You should know better than that. First tackle out to 10. And they're going to go left-hand side. Kiraz off to... the Dogs will be at the 15 on the second tackle here. And if I'm wrong, tell me. Haruhoni with Parada says our Warriors are not the same. I just hate this this common forced misconception where people will think that a winger must stay on his man on the wing. That is not how this sport works. And Sean Johnson on his podcast explained this better than me the other day. Sean Johnson and whoever his podcast co-host, they explained this perfectly the other day. Viliami Kikau offloads the ball out the back into Matt Burton at the 30. And that's an obstruction. That absolutely is a penalty. Yeah, they'll give a penalty to the Warriors here. What? Oh, Adam G. Give him the game, bro. I don't disagree with you. But you said winger defend winger. How is that not a penalty? Yeah, the Warriors are going to challenge this. Adam G., I think you're completely off it here. On-field ruling is a tackle without the ball. But he's gone behind his own player. Yeah, and the comments are saying I challenge too. And oh my gosh, Bunker, that's incorrect. Oh my gosh, and the commentaries complain the same thing. I'm sorry, but that's not the correct call. And they've lost their challenge. Oh my gosh, the Bunker has just made the incorrect call again. Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. Commentary is also going off about it too, saying that's crazy that they've called that. Oh my gosh. So Dogs will get the ball hit the 50. So the Warriors, you lose your challenge, and the incorrect call was made. Dion says, but he still drops balls 3 times. Again, I'm not arguing about that, Dion. That's what I'm saying. I understand people complaining about Dallin Martinez-Lesniak in regards to him dropping the ball. I'm only focusing on the defense right now. I'm not talking about his attack. I'm not talking about all these other factors. I'm only focusing in on the winger's responsibility defensively and his center and his back rower. I'm just focusing on the responsibilities of not only blaming the winger for tries being scored on the wing, because it isn't necessarily their fault. But you can feel free to slander him dropping the ball or having bad attacking plays and whatnot. You can do that all you like. I'm not here to even to go against that. I'll be a dropout here from the Warriors, the Dogs. Shannon says, so long, farewell, Warriors. Carry on and you'll be out of the top 8. Typical collapse by the Warriors, man. Gotta love the Warriors. Never let you down. Long way to go this season. Still 4 games, but yeah, it's getting a bit worrying. Wellby says, I'd be interested to see the stats on how many tries have been scored on Delamontane's Lesniak's wing. So the stats will say that the Warriors' right-hand side defense is one of the worst defensive edges in the game, and they do give up a ridiculous amount of tries on the right-hand side defense. That is a fact. I'm not debating that. But the point is that you can't just blame the winger every single time, because that's not how defensive structures work. Brett, so I think Barnett had a lot to do with leadership this year. Agree, and they missed that without his inclusion. Besides Egan, yeah, absolutely. And then also losing Luke Metcalf was a big, big loss. Bailey Hayward, and now third tackle for the Bulldogs. They're going to be 5 metres out from the line. 2.5 minutes to go the first half. Bailey Hayward, he'll go short to Viliami kick out, and it's going to be, he'll be just short here, just short for tackle, centimetres short. Abrams, yeah, fair. Can't tell me this isn't rigged. This game has been some bad calls in this game, but also Abrams kind of right too. Seb Watson says Pompey and Capewell aren't defensive centres. Don't disagree. It is true, I do. You do, but I also agree with what you're saying in regards to this game. It's pretty poor officiating. With that being said, I get what Abrams saying. Fit tackle now for the Dogs, and they'll be 13 metres out from the line. Warriors don't play good in the rain. Oh, yes, because the Dogs are a fantastic team in the rain. All right, minute 52 to go the first half, and the Dogs are going to get 6 again. Viliami kick out. Will be taken down 2 metres away from the line on first tackle. And 6 again for the Dogs. 6 again. Bailey Hayward gets the ball off to Kurt Mann. Kurt Mann to 15, then off to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin gets it across to Crichton. Crichton gets it across, and that's going to be a try time for Nari Tuala. Try time for Nari Tuala, and it's 18-2 with a kick to come. And unfortunately, Warriors, you aren't making the top 4 right now, but you're in a situation where you may be in a very hot predicament making the top 8. It might be in a bit of a situation here, Warriors. You're on plus 26. You're down by 16 right now with a kick to come. So that will take you down to plus 10. If you were to lose next week against the Dragons, Broncos could jump you. Sharks could jump you if they beat the Titans. And then you'll probably be 2 points ahead. Oh, maybe not. You got to hope the Bulldogs do you a favour against the Roosters next week, and I guess you got to hope the Dogs beat the Bronx. No, the Dolphins beat the Bronx. No, actually, I'd say you probably prefer the Bronx to beat the Dolphins and they'll put the Dolphins out of the 8 for the time being. Mitchell says that try was also Malachi's brother's fault, and it wouldn't surprise me if people did that. It's on the complete other side. People will love to blame him. Laurie says, but this instance, Dallin stuck in 2 minds. I just got to disagree with you. Look at where the centre and the back rower is. Your opinion's not necessarily wrong, but please tell me how. Because if your centre and your back rower are not on their men and they've both come inside, you have a 2-on-1 out there where you have to, as a winger, choose whether you go for the centre or you go for the winger. So if you go for the centre, they score on the wing. If you go for the winger, they score on the centre. So if he is in 2 minds, that's still not on his fault. Because at the end of the day, the 2 players that are inside of him, sorry, I'm going to put this back on charge. The 2 players that are inside of him have forced him to make a 2-on-1 decision. It's like a fullback going up against a line break. So let's say James Tedesco runs through, and then you've got Angus Crichton to your left, or let's Sam Walker or whatever. And they will get the kick. So it's 20-2 here, the Dogs at half time. Let's assume that Tedesco makes a line break, or Sam Walker makes a line break, right? And goes through. And the fullback, say Hermiso, the Dolphins game today. You've then got James Tedesco following up on your left. The fullback has a decision whether to go for the man with the ball or to go for the man who doesn't have the ball, who they're looking to pass it to. If you go for the man with the ball and he passes it, you're going to concede. If you go for the man who doesn't have the ball and he keeps it, then you're going to concede. But guess what? Neither of those options where you conceded is the fullback's fault. That's not not Hamiso's fault. So whether he makes the wrong decision there or he makes the right decision there, at the end of the day, if they score, whether it be through James Tedesco or whether it be through Sam Walker, neither of those situations is Hamiso's fault. It is the defensive line's fault that has forced him into the 2-for-1 situation. Because the defensive line let the breakaway through, they didn't get back in time, and then at the end of the day, Hamiso was then having to make a bad decision, either way, realistically. And the same thing goes for Dallin in this situation. Do you understand what I'm saying? So 20-2 here at halftime. 20-2 here at halftime. Again, Laurie, not having a go at you, just kind of having this conversation. It's not, again, this is just kind of trying to explain how people usually like to scapegoat a winger when it's not always them. But 22 at halftime. Andrew says, isn't 30 points the magic number to make the 8? Oh, usually, yeah. Usually it is. I'll go through the stats in a second, guys. Usually it is. I don't know this year. So, for example, okay, we'll quickly do a ladder predictor. We'll quickly do a ladder predictor right now. I'm only going to do the teams that matter. All right, so we tip. Okay, let's reset this because I did it before. So I'll do everything against. I'll give you my tips, right? So Bulldogs, Warriors. Bulldogs got to win this game. Titans, Rabbitohs, we tip Titans. Eels, Cowboys. I actually think the Eels might sneak that tomorrow. And then we go to round 24. Okay, so the important teams here are the Warriors, Broncos, Sharks, Dolphins, Roosters, and Manly. And arguably Dolphins, Dragons, Tigers, but not for Warriors' sake. Now, Warriors, Dragons. Let's go and say the Dragons keep their season alive and they beat the Wires. So we tip the Dragons. The Panthers and Storm next week is huge. It doesn't really matter. I'm probably going to tip the Storm, but we'll see. Anyway, for the time being, doesn't really matter. The Roosters and the Bulldogs. Let's go and assume the Roosters beat the Bulldogs. Bang. And there's a chance there. I'm not going to do anything that's not a chance. I'm not going to give a wild result. But the Roosters beat the Dogs is not out of this world after they've just scored 64 against the Dolphins. Sharks and Titans. The Sharks should win that game. So they're already above the Warriors. Their Warriors are down to 6th next week. Broncos versus Dolphins. Now, I think the Dolphins win this game, despite the fact they just got beaten by 60. And the Broncos have no Adam Reynolds, no Ezra Mam, no Xavier Willison, no Selwyn Cobbo, no Brendan Piakura. So I'm going to tip the Dolphins here. The Warriors are now only 2 points inside the top 8 because the Roosters are on 28 points. And the Broncos are in 8th position, mind you. Rabbitohs and Eels, who cares? I'm going to tip the Eels for the sake of it. And then Tigers, Manly. For the sake of it, we'll tip the Manly Seagulls, and I think the Manly probably do win that anyway. And then Cowboys, Knights, who cares? Probably go the Cowboys there. So then the Raiders have the bye. We go to round 25 now. Rabbitohs play the Dragons. I'm going to assume the Dragons win that game. Panthers versus the Raiders. I can see the Panthers win that game at Glen Willow Oval. Storm versus the Bulldogs. Far out, that's a top 4 battle that weekend. Storm versus the Bulldogs, I will tip Storm at Amy Park. Manly versus the Dolphins. Big game there. Let's assume the Dolphins win. So the Dolphins are above the Warriors. Warriors are in 7th. Titans versus the Warriors. The Titans beat them a couple of weeks ago. I'll give you the win. I'll give you the one win there, Warriors, just to kind of keep you at bay a little bit, and that will make you at 32 points. But I could easily go and put the Titans for a win there, considering they beat you in New Zealand last. To be fair to the bogey team, let's go put the Titans as a win for the sake of this discussion at 30 points. So keep them at 30 points. So at 30 points, Eels and Roosters. Let's tip the Roosters there. Warriors are currently in 8th position. And then the Knights play the Broncos. If the Broncos win, then the Warriors are in 9th position. That's in round 25. That's in round 25. That's only 3 rounds away. And there's still 2 rounds after that to go. And don't forget the Sharks with their bye. So this is not guaranteed at any stretch for the Warriors. Sure, the 30 points should be good, but it really isn't right now. And they've got a couple of games here that put them in a bit of a situation. Werby says the Wires at the GC is surely a home game for them. Absolutely it is, but they've still lost 66-6 there last year. They lost 66-6 the Titans at Seabus last year. Tayona says, damn, we need a huge second half. Absolutely. You've had some really rough calls against you today, but at the end of the day, the Dogs have still been the better team. Tiariki says, second half, boys, no more errors or giving away penalties. Yep. Sean James got a beer, and what do I see when I get back? More wet weather points. Yep. Laurie says, appreciate brother, all banter. Same here. No, it's all good conversation. Anthony says, why do Bulldogs and Storm only play once? Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. Anthony, you the one on Instagram, by the way? But I don't like it. I wish they had played twice. It'd be nice to see. Tyona says, I think the 4 is pretty much set. Probably. Yeah, with the Sharks losing today, they're probably not going to make the top 4. Panthers probably should get. I can't see the Warriors doing it. Yeah, it probably is. I think, obviously, top 3 might switch around. I actually think it might be exactly that. I think the season might finish off with Raiders first, Storm second, Bulldogs third, Panthers fourth. So you're probably right. Yeah. Dub says, Sheck been coming too early. Thank you for the love of all that is mighty, Sheck. Dub, thank you. That's what I'm trying to tell people. There are so many bad defensive reads from centres at the Warriors, and yet it's always blamed on Dallin. I agree. I'm glad you say that. Casey says, Dragons have been big upsetters lately. Wouldn't surprise me if they beat the Wires. Wouldn't surprise me, but also Dragons are the Dragons. Dragons are fighting for their season, though. They need to win that game. Every game is a must-win for the Dragons. Yeah, it's a very tricky game to predict next week. But the point of the matter is that 30 points is fine, but you could be out of the 8 by round 25 if results go against you when you lose that game to the Titans as a bogey team. Not because the Titans are better, but because they're a bogey team. Game Days says, I can't get over the fact Kurt Mann obstructed a Warriors defender and Dogs got the penalty. Agree. Not to mention the soft R6 again calls absolute choke. Correct, Game Days in Paradise, but also don't forget that Jacob Preston was offside by 5 metres when the ball was kicked and charged down by the Dogs. Jacob Preston grabs it, 5 metres offside, they said it's play on, and then the Dogs then go up 30 metres into the attacking 20. They then say that the Warriors played a ball that I didn't think they played at and gave them a 6 again, and the Dogs end up scoring a very controversial try Viliami kick out where he does reach out. You can make the argument that he slides, but he's also reaching out with his arm and trying and promoting the ball. And it's like, it's debatable if you call that a double movement or a try. I'm okay with the on-field call calling it try and then going with that, but it's still, there's a lot of questions behind it, and I think that probably is a no try. And then, yeah, that's exactly right, Game Days in Paradise. You know, it's very clear there was a Warriors player that was impacted in that play, and the Dogs get the penalty instead. It's just ridiculous. Where we says, why is it GC? Oh, that's right, I read that comment. Warriors probably lose to the Titans bogey team. What did it happen a couple of weeks ago? Heller says, keep going Bulldogs with you. Dub says, he's far too slow on the turn around a liability of defense. The Bulldogs will keep running this way. Agree. I'm going to quickly go through the stats here, guys. So hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. We've taken a while to get into the stats, but we're going to smack it out right now. So thumbs up, subscribe, and don't forget we'll be live for both games tomorrow as well. Titans, Rabbitohs, and also the Eels versus the Cowboys. Now, possession-wise, 67% possession to the Dogs. That is massive. That is a whopping percentage swing. 67 to 33%. Now, time in possession is 14 minutes 50 for the Dogs. That is big, whilst the Warriors are at 7 minutes 13. In 40 minutes, you only had the ball in your hands for 7 minutes and 13 seconds of the half. That's not good. That's not good. That's literally half. So you're in a bit of trouble there. If you can equal out possession, maybe it swings around. But you do have players playing out of position. You do have a different change in the halves. It's going to be hard for you. Now, completion rate. This is huge in wet weather. 91% for both teams. You need to hit at least 80%. They're both not only at 80%, but they're at 91%. 21 from 23 for the Dogs and 11 from 12 for the Warriors. That's a very good completion rate for both these teams in this wet weather footy. Now, 100 runs here for the Dogs. 709 run meters. 46 runs for the Warriors. 338 run meters. I'm not even going to give you the average stat metric of 10 metres on average per run, because that'd be 540 runs to give to the Warriors, and it's just not going to be the case. It'll put them around 900, 200 above the Dogs. It's unfair to do that. So the point of the matter is that the Dogs are getting a lot more metres. If you equate it, you're probably going to get you're probably going to give the Warriors to maybe about 550 or so, which is still 200, 150 behind where the Dogs are at. So overall, Warriors are well behind the run meters department, and you expect that with 67% possession to the Dogs. Now, 207 post-contact meters to the Dogs, 178 of the Warriors. You try to equate that, it's probably actually quite similar. Difficult metric to read, though, but it's probably quite similar. Line breaks is 3-0 to the Dogs. Tackle breaks is far out, 28-4 to the Dogs. Warriors are missing a gigantic amount of tackles, but again, that's going to happen when you've got as much ball against you. And the Dogs are a very limited amount of missed tackles, but it's also going to happen when you don't have to make too many tackles. Average set distance, 30.85 here for the Dogs. That's decent in this weather. In this kind of weather, anything under 20 is pathetic. 20 to 25 is disgusting. 25 to 30 is underwhelming. 30 to 35 is hitting the marker average in this weather. 35 to 40 is underwhelming. No, 35 to 40 is great. 40 to 45 is fantastic, and 45 plus is fantastic. I hope I made that easier to understand. 30.85 is fine. It's very low end of the average area, but you're not going to see too much craziness. 28.18 for the Warriors is pretty underwhelming, but it's still at the upper end, mid-range of underwhelming. So both teams are not really making a great deal of meters, but they're getting kind of to around the mark at the very least. Average play the ball speed, this is a pretty regular play the ball speed in wet weather conditions like this. 3.71 seconds on the dot for both teams. Both teams, 3.71 seconds. It's probably still getting towards the slower side, but it is more around the average area in this torrential conditions. Offloads is 5-2, Bulldogs way. Force dropouts is 1-0, Dogs way. Kick defusal is 100% to 67%, Dogs way. You go down to the effective tackle percentage, and yikes, this is going to tell you a big story here. Yikes. Anything under 83%, anything under 82% is... You nearly turned the game off. It's that bad. 82% to 85% is... No, sorry. Anything under 85% is disgusting, underwhelming. You don't like it. 85 to 88% is underwhelming. 88% to 90% is hitting the marker. 90% and above is a brilliant first half, especially in wet weather like this. Now, the Dogs are at 93.33% on the effective tackle percentage, which is extremely good. They're not having to make a lot of tackles, though. 112 tackles made, but only 4 missed tackles and 4 ineffective. So it is pretty high on the ineffective, considering how many tackles they've had to make, but the missed tackles are still very, very good. So you probably only, if you put that to 224, you're doubling their missed tackles to 8. That's showing you how good their defense has been so far, but they also haven't had to do too much with it because they haven't been receiving the ball against them. So 8 bad tackles through the first half, 93.33%. You're not complaining with that from the Dogs. That's very good. And then for the Warriors, they're at 82.67%. That is really bad. You don't really necessarily become surprised by a stat line like that in a game like this with this wet weather conditions, but 82.67% still isn't good enough at all. 167 tackles made for 28 missed tackles and 7 ineffective. That's 35 bad tackles in the first half compared to 8, and that's why the scoreline is like this. 28 missed tackles is insane. If an average of 15 to 17 missed tackles in a half is what you get for a dry track, you'd probably bump it up to around the 18 to 21 mark for an average missed tackles in a wet track. They're still at 28, which is 7 behind the worst. 7 more than the worst kind of area of that average. There's a lot of missed tackles, and 7 effective is actually not too bad considering how much ball they've had against them, but still 35 bad tackles is why they're at 82.67. And then you go down to the negative play. 3 errors there for the Warriors, 2 errors there for the Dogs. It's actually a very limited amount of errors, which is why we said the 91% completion rate. Penalties conceded is 5 to the Warriors, 3 to the Dogs. So a decent amount of penalties against the Warriors. Dogs not too bad, but still getting up there. Ruck infringements, though, this is the key one. 3-0. That is a lot against the Warriors, 6 again wise. And then on reports is 1-0 for the Bulldogs. So to quickly summarise the stats there, discipline-wise, they're both pretty similar. Nothing too crazily separating them. Defensively, Dogs are very good with limited amount of ball against them. Warriors very bad with a lot of ball against them. The kicking area, the Dogs are well in advantage. The offloads, the Dogs are well in advantage. They're both playing the ball at a pretty regular rate. Average set distance, the Warriors have actually got 28.18. Now the Dogs have been updated to 27.09. So the Warriors are actually getting a little bit more. But again, the run meters and the post-contact meters is all favouring the Dogs. And they have been the better team here today. Very questionable calls, though, have gone against the Warriors. But ultimately, the Dogs have been the ones doing more. But the Dogs are coming out here for the second half, guys. So same with the Warriors. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. Infinite Kiwi says head knocks didn't help 40 minutes to show some ticker. Correct. Billy says, Wah's been a bit off, especially with all the sudden changes, but I still think that the first try was funky. I agree, Billy. So I'm saying there's been some controversial calls for sure. And again, especially considering the Jacob Preston offside for 5 metres. They didn't call that into the 6 again call because they said that he played a kick when I don't believe he did into the potential double movement try. So, I don't think you're completely off it, Billy, but at the end of the day, the Dogs have still been the better team, but there has been some really wonky calls. Laurie says, us Wise fans thinking last home game 4 points were hugely missed. Yeah, definitely. You should have beaten the Dolphins. You were the better team. The Warriors were the better team, and then look at how the Dolphins played today. They lost 64-6 to the Roosters. So that was a big missed 4 points last week. Massive, massive. T. Ricky says, dropping Tanner Boyd was not a smart move. Agree, but I also think that I don't know how much it would have changed, but I agree. So the Dogs will kick it off to the Warriors, and they're going to start off here at the 5. They get it off to... No, Roger Tavasashek decides to run it himself to the 15, first tackle. Tayona says, is there a possibility Wires drop out of the 8 entirely? Surely not, so close to finals. Yes, we went through the ladder predictor just then. There is a chance they could drop out of the top 8 by round 25. I don't think it necessarily happens. It all depends on if you... Again... You look at your draw. Penalty to the Warriors, though. Let's see if it can change around now. It's an 18-point game. Let's see if it can swing. Penalty to the Warriors here. So I'll give you the rundown. So the Warriors, they obviously are playing this game. Let's go on for the sake of the argument. Say they lose. They play the Dragons next week, who are coming off the back of a win against both the Sharks and the Raiders. And the Dragons are fighting for their top 8 life right now. They then played their biggest bogey team in the Gold Coast Titans. Then they play the Eels, who are an improved Eels team. And then they play Manly, who might be done by that point of the season. But at that point, it might be completely up in the air as well. So if your biggest game, realistically, is just being able to beat your bogey team. But if you win one game from here on out, you'll find it pretty tough to miss the 8. But it's just about winning that game. And it really is. It just is about winning that game. Because right now, you're definitely still in with a shout, especially with the Roosters win today. So 4th tackle now for the Warriors. Their 8 AMA is out from the line. Will the Dogs get 50 points? Don't think so, David. Not in this weather. Warriors here at the 20. They give it to Lieutenant Stowers Smith, and he's going to be 10 metres away from the line. 5th tackle. 5th tackle. Lussick at the back here to Harris Tavita. Charge down here from Bailey Hayward, and he's the only one even within cooee of the ball. He picks it up, he gives it off, and no way has he done that. He's passed the ball to Jackson Ford, and Jackson Ford's going to get the ball at the 42. Bailey Hayward, that was so silly in wet weather condition, man. In a dry track, you do that. It's probably good space, but not in a situation like that, and the Warriors are going to get a penalty too. Dogs, that's a collapse. You completely would have just broken the hearts of the Warriors if Bailey Hayward had just held that ball. Instead, he throws it to Jackson Ford, and he gets the ball. That's bad. So penalty now to the Warriors, which will help them big time. And Webby says Webby's a great coach, but he does make a lot of puzzling selection decisions. Agree. John says the Warriors have been in the top 8 since round 3. It's round 23, a first in the club's history. Fair enough. There you go. What was the point? So it's going to be Warriors ball here at the 23. And it says, with wet weather footy, do you think 18 points is too much to ask for? Also going up against one of the best defensive teams? Probably, but if a team can score... The Warriors are one of the best defensive teams too. They're like 4th for the defense in the comp this year, and they did that in the first half. So if that can happen, and both teams are the same team, they both can't really attack, and they both have really good defensive teams. So if the Bulldogs could do it in the first half, or maybe the Warriors could do it in the second half, we'll see right now if they can hold on to the ball and get a try. 4 tackle, 4 metres out. Now it's going to be Lussick out the back here to Harris Tavita. He kicks that ball through. That's probably going to be played out here, and it's going to be Dogs bought the 5. Dogs bought the 5. And now Stephen Crichton will get taken down here at the 10 on first tackle. They just one score now, it's game on. Yeah, but they did not. Sean says, gentlemen, score second half like the first half, please. I think the Warriors will be up for it, but I do have the Dogs winning it. That was a poor decision. It was a very poor decision. But the issue is the Warriors halves. This is why I tipped the Warriors second last preseason. And it's like they completely exceeded our expectations by getting to where they are. But the reason I tipped them there is because I wasn't confident in their halves. The Warriors won their games this year on defense. They did not win their games on attack. And I know there's going to be a lot of Luke Metcalf circle jerkers here. And whilst Metcalf was playing some good footy, at the end of the day, they weren't winning games on attack. They were winning their games on defense. And that's proven by these stats. So even with Metcalf there, I could see how I was right in regards to where I was thinking, but it's just that the Warriors really focused on defensive structure, which was really good for them. And now you're really starting to see their problems in the halves as well in regards to their attack. So there's an injury right now. There's nothing wrong with the tackle. It's a big collision, but there's nothing wrong with the tackle. Becky says, but they have lost to Marty Martin this game. Sure, yeah, that's correct. But they also did decide he wasn't really doing much even when he was on the field anyway. But sure, and I'm not debating that. All right, so right-hand side, and it's going to be Tanner Stowers Smith, third tackle inside the attacking half. 36 minutes to go here of the game. And Lussick off to Harris Tavita, then to Jackson Ford. He'll be the 44 tackle. And across Lussick, Tanastawa Smith nearly knocks the ball on, keeps it going and keeps those legs pumping. That was good. 25 metres out. Try and force an error or get a repeat set here, Warriors. Need to see a little bit of razzle-dazzle here. Good chance, good kick, good area. They're going to lose the ball here. The Dogs probably goes backwards. Kokau will go to the sideline, yeah. That's going to be Dogs. That's going to be Warriors ball at 10. No, it's fine. It's gone backwards, but kick out has been taken off the sideline. That's fine. So Warriors ball here at the 10. That'll be fine. Waz need to try to have a chance then next minute. Well, they've got a chance now. They'll be 10 metres out here from the line. Sean says, because Mama said, what? And Dad's mate says, knock him out. Dad's mate's a lunatic. Lagan, I'll be completely honest with you, mate. There is no way that a Dogs fan should be ever discussing in this game, considering the situation regarding Viliami's first try in regards to second efforts, but also secondly, when you're making the hit, so he hadn't been tackled, he'd gone to ground because he was trying to stop, and they've come in and in one motion hit him across the sideline with the wet weather. So it is a completely legal play, but also there is no way that a Dogs fan is going to be criticising and complaining about a second effort, considering Viliami Kickout's first try. So left-hand side now to Taintua Picky, and Taintua Picky at the 3. And again, he hit the ground and he was pushed over in one motion. He wasn't hit on the ground and then picked up and pulled over. He wasn't hit on the ground and then pushed over in two motions. It was one swift motion. Infinite Kiwi says, need an offload, come on, boys. So it's Warriors ball here, 4 tackle at the 23. They've lost a good bunch of metres here, and it's going to be Warriors now at the 15 on fit tackle. Jared Ford says Warriors should win this game easy. And now they'll kick this ball over to the left-hand side, and Dogs will get this ball at the 5. Yeah, the thing is, Logan, is that you're just asking, but you do troll this channel quite a lot, so I'm going to respond to you like that. But also, secondly, it's because I'm surprised you're actually watching this game for starters, considering what we know with you on the channel. But also, secondly, it's like you're trying to claim that the referees have harshly called against the Dogs there. When one, it was the correct call, but also two, a very similar instance, you're happy to ignore that to try and claim that the referees are uneven for you. So that's why we reply to you like that. So, Proteins, I'll reply to you here. So, I don't disagree with the sideline call, but you must be delusional if you think kick-out's trouble with a double movement. Clearly slid over. I think it's 50-50 here, and that's why I'm okay with the fact that, and the commentary was calling it too. Like, everyone's been talking about it as well. There's a reason why there's controversy surrounding that. But the kick-out situation is like, he's gone down 3 metres short, and you have seen him move his arm forward. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck drops the ball at the 15. You have seen his arm move forward there. So he's promoting the ball. Now, he probably is going to get there, which is why, because the call was called a try on the field, that's probably why they've given it there. But at the end of the day, there's no debate. Like, it's not even a debate that he does promote the ball. It just comes down to whether he has the momentum that negates the promotion of the ball. So it's like, to say someone or people are delusional for having this thought process is just a lie. Like, that is a delusional thought process, because there's a reason why everyone was discussing it. If you go on Twitter and you go on Instagram and you go to this chat and you're talking to me, you're talking to the commentary, everyone was discussing it. So it's like, you can well and truly have the thought process that you think everybody else is delusional, but the thing is that there was definite promotion. It just comes down to the debate of whether he is actually getting there. But if you go back and look at it, there is definitely discussion there. So again, it's fine. I'm sure you're a Dogs fan here, but there is a conversation around it. So second tackle here for the Dogs at the 10. Hadahoni says Warriors attack is shit. It's not great. And now Matt Burton, 6 again. Viliami kick out. He'll be 10 metres out of the line. Laurie says, kick out not to blame, but refs was not Robert of the game. No, Dogs have been the better team of the day regardless. And this is the thing I hate as well. It's like, when you criticise refs, a lot of people then immediately think that you're saying that a team's been robbed. And I'm not saying the Warriors have been robbed here. I'm critical of the referees, but the Dogs have been the better team very clearly as well. So 4 set restarts here for the Dogs, 0 set restarts for the Warriors so far. Out the back now at the 11, Kurt Mann gives it off to Stephen Crichton. Crichton's going to kick this ball through, and the Warriors will get the ball about 2 metres out. It's going to be a knock-on Warriors. Knock on Warriors. It's still raining. It hasn't stopped raining all game, man. It's been pouring down, yeah. It has been pouring down. Yeah, so Adam Pomp. Oh, jeez. Jeez, he's been whacked in the face there with a bit of an elbow from his own teammate from the Warriors, Chanel Harris-Savita. And it says it's a wet weekend in Sydney. Yeah, well, quite lucky the Sharks and Dragons game wasn't too bad. We were quite lucky, actually. Newcastle game last night against the Panthers, it was romper stomp of rain in the second half. This game's obviously just been consistently raining. Where's the Eels Cowboys game? Is that in Parramatta or is that at North Queensland? Stephen Crichton scores, and that should be the game for mine. 30 minutes to go here of the game, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. The Dogs will score through Stephen Crichton, and it is 24-2 with a kick to come. 30 minutes to go. Oh, it's at Combank. Okay, there you go. It is at Combank. Brighton says Crichton too strong. Absolutely. The Warriors defense just falls off him. Chance Neil-Klokstad can't make the tackle. And Crichton was just too strong there for Chance, and also Adam Pompey. Adam Pompey misses the tackle. And I'm sure Warriors fans are going to look to complain about Dale Martinez-Lesniak when this isn't his fault. You know, and this is why I replied before in regards to if you look at the stats of the right side defense for the Warriors, yeah, they are bad. Like, there's no debating about that. But that's a try on the right-hand side defense, but Dallin has nothing to do with it because the centre and the back rower missed the tackle on Stephen Crichton as he breaks through. Too strong. Too strong. Benny West says, could you commentate in Vietnamese? Gong. Gong. Laurie says, doggies with less mistakes deserve the lead. It's not even necessarily just about the mistakes, though. You know, because the Dogs are at 87% completion rate, and the Warriors are at 89% completion rate. It's 17 from 19 completed out to the Warriors, and 27 from 31 there for the Dogs. The Dogs have actually made not more errors, but in regards to their sets, more errors. In regards to their sets, more errors. The penalties are the same at 5-5. The ruck infringement's have been pretty bad against the Wars. But it's their defense, 81.82%. You have to be hitting them at least 85% to get to underwhelming. 85% and below is disgusting. It's a pathetic effort. The Warriors have missed 37 tackles today and are at 81.82%. 88% is the marker. They're at 81.82%. The Dogs are at 94.19%. That's incredible. The Warriors are at 81.82%. A massive drop-off there. Massive drop-off in defence. Andrew says, we had to move our New South Wales Cup game away from Combank tomorrow due to worried about ground conditions for men's and women's game after. That's good. Tona says, there are people before it gets to Dallin Martinez-Lesniak. It wasn't his fault. I 100% agree. I argue this all the time. Billy says, Warriors doing what Warriors do. They've just got a really big game against the Dragons next week. The Dragons are on a really good run at the moment. They played some pretty good footy against the Sharks today. The Sharks weren't great at all. They had like a 67% completion rate or 63% completion rate. But the Dragons were clearly the better team in that game, and they beat the Raiders last week, and they're fighting for their top 8 hopes. And with the Roosters beating the Dolphins, that opens up the floor for the Dragons, and it opens up the floor for Manly. It opens up the floor even technically for the Tigers, but their points differential is not good enough, so the Tigers aren't in play. But overall, the Dragons are on a bit of a run right now, only 4 points away. So it's like you're not taking on a team that have no chance. You're taking on a team that have a minuscule chance. And I don't know if that's in New Zealand or in Sydney. I'm going to check. It's in New Zealand at Go Media Stadium. So, yeah, that's going to be, Jesus, massive games next week, dude. Storm Panthers on Thursday is wild. Warriors Dragons on Friday is wild. Roosters Bulldogs on Friday is insane. Broncos Dolphins is a ridiculous game. Rabbitohs Eels is another spoon bowl. Cowboys Knights is also a spoon bowl. Sharks Titans. Sharks in a fight for their 8th spot, and Titans are fighting to avoid the spoon. You can't get a bad game at the moment. You really can't. And we'll be live for all of them. So third tackle now for the Warriors. They'll get the sport of the 40. Johnson's keeping the faith. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep the faith for this one. Oh, that's a good run there from Samuel Healy to the 43. 4th tackle. I also don't know why Samuel Healy was pushed from the 9 to the 14. Why? Warriors fans, why did Samuel Healy get dropped to the bench for Freddie Lussick? I didn't get it. I didn't understand it when I saw it before the game started. Knocked back here from the Warriors. They're going to keep the... Oh, he should have passed the ball to Channel Harris to Vita, but it will be Viliame Kikau picking the ball up to 5. And that's going to be a penalty here to the Warriors back at the 20. Penalty to the Warriors at the 20. Noel says, drop a Manu on them doggy paddles. Andrew says, we love the Battle of Spoons and the Battle of the Top 8 this season. Nah, Battle of the 4's good too. Maybe not so much anymore, but Battle of Minor Premiership's still up in the air. Minor Premiership, Still technically top 4, but I doubt it. Top 8 and wooden spoon. Everything's in play. All right, so 10 metres away here from the line for the Warriors. First tackle. Let's see if you can score here and maybe give your fans some hope for their comments of keeping the faith in the chat. And that's going to be a penalty here to the Warriors at the 5. And it says, geez, how much was Dolphins disappointing last game? For me, I thought Roosters were going to be slapped. I tipped the Roosters in that game. Didn't think they'd win by that much, but I tipped the Roosters. Roosters have been here before. Dolphins, this is uncharted territory. Dolphins losing Farmworth was huge, but, you know, the Roosters just know how to win these kind of games, and I went with that, and they won. Dolphins was still really disappointing. I thought it'd be a good game. Warriors are trying to claim a high tackle here. Second tackle here. He's trying to claim a high tackle. Let's see. And it's a high tackle for sure. It's going to be called a high tackle. Mark Parkinson says, crazy since Metcalf has been injured. Warriors don't even look like a team without him. Yeah, they have struggled without him. So it's like he's more than just the attack. He is just about the structure. But again, I don't think the attack was that good for the Warriors with him there. But like ultimately, he is a key point of the structure. So what they've said, this is not even a high tackle. Okay. So Warriors now, it's going to be Murata Niokore, 15 metres out, third tackle. How you tell me that wasn't a high tackle is insane. And Webby says, because Webby is shit at selections. Fair enough. Fourth tackle, 10 metres away. And it says, I think a young Roosters team have been unpredictable, but look good with Sam. They are good with Sam. Tries over the... Oh, no, I don't think he did. Or did he? He's confident, Samuel Healy. He's confident. They are going to say try time here for the Warriors. So 24-6 with a kick to come. Slight hope. It's going to be a 16-point game if you get the kick, which I would assume you do. So you will score a try. Luckily, the Warriors will score despite the fact that was probably a bad call, that there was no high tackle called there. But I just want to see Samuel Healy gets this down. Yeah, he will. Yeah, he gets it through, and he does get a try. So try time for the Warriors, 24-6 with the kick to come. 25 minutes to go of the game. And yeah, good try. Good try. John says, shocking stats, can't blame the weather. There are two teams out there up the wires. 100% agree. I think there's been some pretty poor calls against him, but like at the end of the day, I 100% agree that you can't blame the weather here. And I don't even think they can really blame the referees overall. It's just been that the Bulldogs have been a better team. Dion says, will Dogs make it to second with a win? No, because the Storm are plus 248. The Dogs are plus 122. They'll be equal second, but they'll still be well and truly behind points differential. They're 126 points behind the Storm points differential-wise. So no, they can't go into second position. They cannot. Yeah, a lot of people are... yeah, someone said, how come head contact is different for everyone but the Warriors? Banned NRL. Followed up by an even more terrible and biased effort from Sutton. Can't we all... How much find other half-decent refs? Oh, my gosh. Where is the consistency? Yes, he ducked into, but every other game there's a penalty. Yeah, well, look, I'll be honest with you, Warriors fans. I'll sit here and I'll hold your hand and sing Kumbaya with you, because you say that every other game that is a penalty, and like, yeah, sure, but Titans and Warriors didn't receive a penalty, which should have absolutely been a penalty just before, but also the Titans didn't receive a penalty try for getting absolutely clocked in the face on Sammy, who had to go off. So I agree with you, but they're not necessarily consistent to go up against that. Brenton says the bunker smoking something in that box. Where says Healy should have started. I agree. Kay says, imagine if the Storm of Bulldogs snatched first off the Raiders right at the death. I mean, Titans are top of the table, buddy. Come on, get with the times, Casey. You're going to click on with the times, buddy. And it says penalty tries don't exist. Oh, that's crazy considering that I've seen 2 penalty tries this weekend. One for the Storm yesterday, or Thursday, and penalty the Warriors. Okay. Oh, no, it's a penalty the Bulldogs. Don't worry. I don't know why, but it's a penalty of the Bulldogs here. I don't know what actually happened. What was the penalty here? I just came over and pushed him over, apparently. Okay. Fisher Harris apparently just came over and pushed him over out of nowhere. Here we go. Where is he? And... yeah, okay. Crichton's milked the shit out of that, but it is a penalty. And Crichton's definitely milked the shit out of that. Oh, they're going to go for the 2-2 to make it an 18-point game. Yeah, I get it. Dasmate says, by the way, shout out Broncos 24-8. Yeah, it was in the stadium, Dasmate. Yeah. Hey, it was in the stadium. No, it's a correct call to call it a penalty, but it is unfortunately soft because Crichton does milk it like deluxe. No, it says that was so dumb. That was very dumb. See why they called them was? All I'm hearing is whinging. Yeah, but I'm not a Warriors fan, so it's like I am criticising the officials here for absolute sure, but I'm also giving you the credit and saying the Dogs have been the better team here. That was the biggest milking ever from Critter. So, I mean, forearm into the head like we are watching WWE's fight and play on. Yeah, I don't... Like the NRL say they want to really hone in and make sure that the head is protected, and then yet they allow that, and you're just like, what? You just don't get it. So Stephen Crichton, he will get the kick. So it's an 18-point game at 26-8 with 23 minutes to go the game. And where was the soft penalty? Soft penalty, but it is a penalty. It was just good milking from Crichton. I would start considering going for the short kicks here. I know it puts you potentially into a bad position, but I think it's not a bad thought process. Tayona says, I can't complain about Critter milking it. C&K does it pretty often. Yeah, lots of players do it. Every player does it. Laurie says, agree Blazers are wise fans, sick of talking about refs calls and staying in the top 8, need to deserve being in the top 8 by kicking ass. What I've been trying to say is that a lot of Warriors fans come to the streams and talk about like other teams, and for me, it's not about Warriors fans shouldn't be talking about other teams. Who cares about the top 4? Your biggest problem right now is actually top 8. Who cares about the top 4, and who cares about what the Broncos are doing? Fuck the Panthers. Who cares about what the Panthers are doing, or the Roosters and Dolphins and Sharks and stuff? Focus on the team itself. Focus on the Warriors, because right now, if they win their games, they're in the 8. If they win their games, they're arguably top 4, because the Panthers now have 3 straight games against the the Storm, the Bulldogs, and the Raiders. So they're probably going to lose a game or two there. So the Warriors have a chance to make the top 4, but it's not about thinking about what the Panthers are doing. Who cares about what the Panthers are doing? If they lose, they lose. If they win, they win. Who cares? It's about fixing the situation of the Warriors and focusing on how the team is playing, because there's no point even making the finals if you're just making up the numbers. And honestly, there was 8 teams, 9 teams, you could even argue now, that could win the competition. I'd probably maybe remove the Broncos from the equation, but with their injuries. But at the end of the day, like, no one has really solidified themselves as guaranteed favourites. Probably the Raiders, but anyone in the top 8 could win this comp. But there's too much focus on what other teams are doing and not focusing on what you're doing. At the end of the day, if the Warriors win their games themselves, they will be a top 8 team and probably a top 4 team. So who cares about what other teams are doing realistically? In the last round of the season, okay, maybe care about what other teams are doing. But for the time being, it's just about focusing on your own game. So 20 minutes to go now of the game. Hit that like button and subscribe if you are new around here. He's 26-8. The Dogs, 18-point game. Don't think the Warriors come back from here, but, you know, at least they scored a try. 6-6, I think, in the second half here. C&K loves a good milk. Does love a good milk. Does love a good milk. And it says, do you think acting classes should be a part of the preseason next year? Melbourne Storm have been doing it for about 10 years. John says, that would be an interesting stat. Most penalised and 50-50 calls. Well, that's very perspective-based in regards to 50-50 calls. But most penalised? I can give you an actual stat for that. Which teams have been the most penalised? I'll give you the stat, the official stat for it. It says a penalty here coming up for the Bulldogs. Passing, defence, kicking, negative play. All right, penalties conceded. The Broncos. Penalties conceded. The Broncos are giving away the most penalties this year with 121. The Dogs actually are about to be the most penalised team because they've had one less game. Jeez, one less game, and I think they've given away about 5 penalties in this game, so they'll go to 124. So the Dogs are actually the most penalised team this year. The Broncos are the second most. The Raiders are the third most. Manly are the fourth most. Storm are the 5th most. So it's quite funny here, because majority of the teams that are good this year are the ones giving away the penalties. Broncos are 6th, Bulldogs are 3rd, Raiders are 1st, Manly are 10th, Storm are 2nd. Maybe not the Tigers and the Eels, but the Roosters, Panthers, they're in 8th and 9th there. And then you go down to the bottom area of the table. The Warriors are actually the least amount of penalties conceded all year. with 96. The Warriors are the team with the least amount of penalties against them, which is probably going to surprise a lot of Warriors fans. But the Warriors and Dolphins are two of the least penalties given against them in the comp, and then you've got Rabbitohs, Titans, Cowboys, Dragons, Sharks, Knights, Panthers. So the teams that are actually not doing too well in the Rabbitohs, Titans, Cowboys, and all that type of stuff are all down the bottom area, which is quite surprising. But the Warriors are the least amount of penalties given up this season. So second tackle here for the Dogs. They're 20 metres out from the line. Loris has thought the Wars would have dog for dinner, but not today. Not today. And now William McKicker will be 15 metres out from the line, third tackle. Critter's mum told him milk gives you strong bones and interpreted wrong. Hey, well, he's got strong bones from that milk, that's for sure. Dogs here, right hand side, gives it off to Anari Tuala. He cuts back inside. I think he'll be held up here. Yeah, he'll be held up for sure. Fourth tackle for the Dogs. I'll go back to the 10. John says exactly their destiny's in their hands. Correct. Bill's family likes the Titans to win tomorrow 1-12. Hey, listen, I hope so, mate. I could see a 13-pluser, but I don't want to get my hopes too high up in a battle of the spoon there. If the Rabbitohs lose that, they probably get them or the Knights. The Rabbitohs still have a bye. Titans are still in the battle for the spoon, but every team that's not the Titans in that bottom area of the table would prefer the Rabbitohs to win tomorrow. Because the Titans don't have a bye, the Rabbitohs have a bye. So if Titans win tomorrow, they'll go equal with the Knights. Actually, they'll go above the Knights. If the Titans win tomorrow, they'll go above the Eels and also the Knights. And then the Eels will drop to 16th, the Knights will drop to 15th, and then it just comes down to if the Eels beat the Cowboys after that. But if the Eels lose, the Titans, Knights, and Eels will all be on 18 points. And the Rabbitohs will also be on 18 points when they get their bye in round 26. So it's like four-way go. Cowboys having one would go to 21, but they're still within range. I think that it's actually probably better for a lot of the teams like the Titans, the Rabbitohs, the Knights and whatnot for the Eels to beat the Cowboys. Because the points differential doesn't matter with them being uneven. I think if you are a Titans, Rabbitohs, Knights, or Tigers fan, you would prefer the Eels to beat the Cowboys, to bring the Cowboys back down, in my opinion. Because I think the Eels have a better chance of avoiding the spoon. So fourth tackle, now fifth tackle. Like the Eels are shit house, but like they'll avoid the spoon for mine. Fifth tackle at the 42, and it's going to be Harris Tavita. Puts a pretty basic kick up, which should be grabbed at the 30 by Jacob Kiraz. He gets it and brings it out now to the 35 on first tackle. 17 minutes left. Toyona says, got a feel for the Bunnies. They've been the most affected by injuries this year by far. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that many teams can really complain too heavily about injuries. I think that's part of the game, but I think the Rabbitohs absolutely can. If anyone's going to complain about injuries, I feel like the Rabbitohs are the one team that definitely can have that criticism. Broncos have had a pretty rough weekend, but overall their season hasn't been too bad. Reid Marnie comes onto the field for the first time tonight. They dink that ball into the corner, and it's going to be Tane Tuolpiki who brings that ball out to the 15, first tackle. Yeah, Broncos can after last night, yeah, but not like long-term season-wise, comparatively to the Rabbitohs. It's quite funny, though, and Warriors fans might not like this either. You've been the least amount of penalties conceded team in the comp, but you've also been the least injured team in the comp. Do you know that? Did you know that you have the least amount of injuries in the competition this year? I'll go get it for you. NRL Physio, coming into this round, you had, third least. You're on 15th with 73 injuries as a collective games missed, which is only 15 more than the Tigers. Tigers are the least injured team in the comp. Then the Panthers were the second least injured team in the comp. The most injured team in the comp was the Rabbitohs with 238, and the Roosters second at 136, Dragons third at 127, Cowboys fourth at 124, Sharks fifth at 119, Storm sixth at 118, Titans seventh at 118, and Dolphins eighth at 109. That's a crazy stat. Don't feel like it. Yeah, we'll start feeling like it because it's the truth. All right, still raining here. Second tackle, 15 minutes to go here of the game. Don't forget to be here for the Titans Rabbitohs tomorrow because I'm going to be getting crazy. You know me. You know me when the Titans are playing. I'm getting crazy. We might have no shirt by the end of that game. Might have no pants by the end of that game. We'll be like Mick Ennis watching the Panthers game. I'll be like Mick Ennis watching the Panthers game if we win that. No shirt, no pants. It's all coming off. Dion says, thought Roosters. Oh, Warriors get the ball at 35. First tackle. Out of nowhere, the Bulldogs offload it. Noel says, who's got the ball at the moment? Yeah, like obviously we're not purely commentating right this very second because it's a bit of a slow game now with the scoreline and these weather conditions, but Warriors with the ball at the 40, second tackle. If something interesting happens, I'll definitely tell you what's happening though. Dion says, thought Roosters would have been most penalties. Roosters are the 8th most penalties. If you want me to talk about errors, I'm pretty certain the Roosters are the most, or they might be 2nd or 3rd most. And that's a mistake there from the Warriors, and the Dogs will get the ball at the 45 on their own side of the field. Errors-wise, Gutherson's given away the most penalties in the comp as an individual player, by the way. But let's have a look at the errors. Gutho had a great game today. Negative play. Errors is the Cowboys at 265, the Knights at 260, and the Roosters at 248. But the Roosters have played one less game. So they're probably maybe in 2nd above the Knights. Maybe. They would need 12 more. Shut your mouth. No, you sicko. John says, no excuses where he says, I agree. All right, so Bulldogs with the ball at the 50, 13 minutes to go. Missed tackles of 26 is actually pretty good considering the first half they were at like 25 or something like that. Tony says, how Dogs fraud alert? Well, they're going to come off it now. At the end of the day, they did lose to the Tigers last week, mate, and they have been having a bit of a tumultuous last month and a half or so, so I'm happy to take them off now, but before the game, it was valid. This has been a good performance for them against the Warriors, but we're really about to see them tested as well over these next couple of weeks, because they do have the Panthers in a couple of weeks, which would be an interesting one, who they did lose to 8-6 a couple of weeks ago. And they do play the Storm as well in about 3 weeks' time. Out of the left-hand side, Viliami kick out, and Viliami kick out will get taken down to the 20. But yeah, so I was going to take them off after this game anyway. I don't think the Warriors come back from now, so I'm happy to take them off now. And Webby says 3 weeks ago, Webby said he's 100% confident in the Wars. Next minute, Dogs here, right-hand side. Jacob Kiraz and Ari Tuwala. Tuwala back on the inside. Try time for the Doggies, and it is 30-8 with a kick to come. 38 with a kick to come. Was 22 points. Hey, remember when I was getting people telling me that I was wrong for talking about points differential? Well, screw me drunk and call me Stacey. This is a 22-point swing right now. So the Warriors not plus 26. They are plus 4. They are plus 4. You are only 14 points differential away from the Manly Seagulls of minus 10. No, it's 22 points. Yeah, 22 points. And it's maybe about to be 24 points. Do you see what I mean now? People need to realise I'm not hating on your team. I like the Warriors. I'm not hating on any team. I'm just giving you thought process of it. And if you take it as an insult, it's not on me. I'm not trying to insult your team. I'm just trying to tell you the points differential absolutely matters. Because now, if you lose next week, the Broncos win, they go above you. Sharks win, they go above you. Their points differentials are way better than yours. Tasman says, Stacey, that's me. Screw me drunk and call me Stacey. Noel George says, Webby's going to be breathing hard on the mic. Watch the space, but if they win, he'll be holding his breath. Warriors ain't winning nothing here today. They aren't winning nothing here today. Champion. How many points until the Wards go to negative? If they concede this, if they keep the 2 points here, that'll be a 24-point swing. They'll be down at plus 2, and then if they concede again today with 10 minutes to go, then we will see them go into the negative. All right, Stephen Crichton, he will make the kick. It is 32-8 with 10 minutes to go of the game, guys. Thumbs up, subscribe. Don't forget, we will be live. Do not forget, we will be live for the Titans versus Rabbitohs wooden spoon battle tomorrow, and then another wooden spoon battle between the Eels and the Cowboys. 2 wooden spoon battles tomorrow. Big games. We'll be getting chirpy, loud, and crazy with the Titans game. Love your work, Stacey. Appreciate you, Infinite Kiwi. Mark Parkinson says, Warriors beat Dragons next week. Putting my life savings on it. Why? Why are you so confident? Tony says, bro, I see Titans win tomorrow 40-12. Hey, please, mate. You know, from your mouth to God's ears, dude. And that'll be Warriors knock on. I thought it went backwards, but it doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. Sean says, hope the Dogs get over Melbourne next week. Oh, it's Melbourne next week, is it? No, it's not. It's Panthers versus Storm next week, isn't it? I'll have a look. Isn't it Penrith Storm on Thursday? Yeah, it's Penrith Storm on Thursday. Next week, the Dogs play the Roosters, which is a big game. And then the Dogs play the Storm the week after. Yeah, lots to still play out. How good. Dragons are going to pump the Waz at home. I think let's settle down on that one. But to completely wipe out the Dragons kind of insinuates to me that you aren't watching the Dragons play right now and are going via a thought process of what the Dragons have been throughout the year. But the Dragons have been playing some good footy. They played really well today against the Sharks. Sharks played poorly, but the Dragons played really well. And they played well against the Raiders last week. So they've won 2 games in a row. They're hanging by a thread on the top 8. They're still probably not going to make it, but they're hanging by a thread. So they've got a lot to play for. And New Zealand are on a bit of a slide. Prekshik says, what do you think? Dogs can win with 22-point plus? Well, it's 24 points, so yes. I don't think the Warriors score again. David says, instead of playing overtime, what do you think of a kickoff? Both teams get a kick at the post from 30 out. First to miss lose, takes away any poor ref calls during overtime. Nah, I disagree. I think you've got to go to extra time. I do think extra time is better, though, not golden point. I think golden point just forces a field goal-a-thon. Obviously, in the finals, which we're only 4 and a bit weeks away from now, just over a month away from finals, just to remind everybody, in the finals, it is extra time. There is no golden point in finals. There is no golden point in finals. But I don't agree with with golden point because golden point just makes it a field goal-a-thon. David says, they already did that. Mark Parkin says, because this is a team that is not too bad without the main man. They just didn't play well this week. I reckon Warriors don't lose any more games this season. They have playmakers now. I feel like you're definitely a Warriors fan. It's very confident. It's a very confident thought process, especially considering that a Warriors fan, and this isn't coming from any biased viewpoint, but you did lose to the Titans a few weeks ago in New Zealand. You haven't beaten the Titans. You've beaten them once since 2020, and you haven't. This is not New Zealand, it's Seabus. The last time you played the Titans at Seabus, you lost 66-6, and that was the year where the Titans came 4th last again. So that's an interesting one, and you do have a tough game against, I think it was the Raiders last game or something like that. No, that might be the Dolphins, I can't remember. But the point of the matter is that's a very confident answer for a team that's been struggling as heavily as they are. So I don't know how you kind of come to the conclusion that they're going to slap a team that's been 2 wins in a row against 2 top 8 opposition in the Sharks and the Raiders. But, we'll see. You could be right. The NRL is a hard one to predict this year, but I think it's a bit overconfident. So drop out there, coming up from the Warriors, the Dogs. Yeah, we had Boyd. Didn't think we could win with him as a playmaker. Okay, well, Boyd wasn't there and you lost. And Tamati Martin's there today and you lost. So who are we going with next time? Because Tamati Martin and Chanel Harris-Aveda have never really lit the world on fire as a duo when they've played together. And the Warriors, again, have not been an attacking team this year. But again, I would not be surprised. That's going to be a dropout here. No, that's going to be a Warriors ball to do about the 10. I would not be surprised if the Warriors win, but I do think the Dragons may come into that game as favourites. They might come into that game as favourites. I definitely don't think you should be as confident as you sound. But with that being said, I do think there is obviously a possibility. So they're going to challenge us here, the Dogs. 6.5 minutes to go of the game. Appreciate you tuning in with me all day today. I actually haven't eaten, so I'm really looking forward to eating after this. Really looking forward to eating after this. It's 6:19 p.m. for me over here in Vietnam. So I'm going to get some nice food tonight. But it's been such a big day that I just haven't had time to eat. And I'm pretty certain this just goes out past the 10, so it should be... Oh, does he touch that ball there? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Nah, he doesn't touch that ball. What country are you in? I'm in Vietnam right now, man. I'm in Saigon, Ho Chi Minh. Ho Chi Minh. Maybe the Warriors should sign Tyrese Halliburton. And maybe Mitchell, the only issue is one, he doesn't play rugby league, but also two, he's injured for the next year. So it's a bit of a hard one. Based on the live decision of not touched by Rod the Tuivasa-Sheck, we're going to stop wasting people's time and just play the rest of the 6.5 minutes because it's a 24-point game. How about that one, Bunker? How about that one? Dion says, Dragons been good even without Val Holmes. Dragons have arguably been better without Val Holmes. But the Dragons are a very inconsistent team. 3 weeks ago, they lose 38-32 to the Cowboys. And then they go and beat the Raiders 18-12. And then they go and beat the Sharks 22-14 for the first time in like 5 years. And then they'll probably go and lose by 100 to the Warriors, or they'll go and win by 100 against the Warriors. You just never know with this Dragons team. They could even go and beat a top 5 team in the Warriors next week, the Dragons. And then the week after, they'll play some no-hoper and they'll lose. You know, like, let's have a look here at who they're playing in round 25. Let's assume they go... Yeah, then they go lose to the Rabbitohs in round 25. That's the Dragons for you. They'll go and lose to the Cowboys, a jack shit no-hoper team. Then they'll go and beat the Raiders, the team in first position. They'll go and beat the Sharks, the team in the top 7, who are going for 6th and top 4 position. They'll go and beat the Warriors, who are 5th position. And then they'll go and lose to some jack nobody Rabbitohs team that have no chance. That's the Dragons for you. That is the Dragons for you. Harris Tavita gives it out to Kurt Catewell, and Kurt Catewell kicks this ball down into the corner where Jacob Kiraz will bring this ball out of the 23 on first tackle, 25 on first tackle. You might as well play Luke Metcalf then. You're still getting a guy with one leg at the moment. May as well. Maybe a half pairing of Luke Metcalf and, yeah, we'll get Tyrese Halliburton in as well. Well, unfortunately, this hasn't been the belter game that we all did expect. And this is why I say it's always the games that don't look like they're going to be great that end up being the belters. And the games that look like they're going to be amazing end up being absolutely dreadful. And unfortunately, this has not been an electric game. The best game of the weekend has probably been that Sharks and Dragons game at the moment, I'd say. Sharks, Dragons, but I did say to you guys before the round started that Titans, Rabbitohs probably ends up being the best one because it looks like it's going to be the worst one, or Eels, Cowboys, 2 games that look awful, could easily be the best games. Sharks, Dragons is probably the one to beat right now. Brent, get SJ out of retirement. Yeah, chuck him in the front row. Second tackle now for the Warriors, and they'll be at the 13. 5 minutes to go to the game. If you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, go follow on the pinned comment in the chat. Go vote in the poll. Still a pretty close poll considering the score. And now 4 tackle here at the 28. Yeah, this is turning into a slugfest. You can't even hear anybody in the crowd anymore. You could in the first half. Left-hand side, Rod the Tuivasa-Sheck, and he'll be at the 38. That's going to be a penalty here to the Warriors. Penalty to the Warriors. The Wahines did a great job up the Wahines. Did they really? Let's go have a look at how the women's game went. I know the Titans women's team play tomorrow. Sharks beat the Dragons 20-6. Tigers lost to the Knights 30-6. Warriors 34-6 win over the Bulldogs. Wow, Bulldogs are falling apart. They started off the season very, very well. But they've really fallen apart now. The Bulldogs have dropped down to a 9th position on the table now. When they started off with a bang. Hey, Daz, can I ask you a question, Daz? Hey, Daz, mate, can you just let me know in the chat if I can ask you a question? Because I got a question for you, Mr. Daz, mate, Mr. Mate Daz. Might be a good question that might intrigue you. So 4 minutes to go here at the game. First tackle for the Warriors at the 45 on the Dogs side of the field. They give it to Aaron Clark, and Aaron Clark is going to be at the 40 on second tackle. Hey, Daz, mate, knock, knock. Daz, mate. Daz, mate, knock, knock. I know you're there, buddy. Yes, I can ask you a question. Okay, fantastic. So, Daz, you were telling me earlier on in the year the Dogs women's team have never lost a game. Is this still true? Haven't really been watching the Dogs games and the women's games. Is it true that they still have never lost a game before? Or just trying to figure that one out, Daz. It seems like a pretty good question to me. Daz is eating KFC with Faraz. Fair enough. Warriors to the corner, straight into the hands of Nari Tuala. Throwing KFC for us. Anthony Tukagi has just said a word that makes absolutely no sense. I think we're speaking in potentially Bosnian here. Yeah, potentially Bosnian. We don't speak Bosnian here on the channel, mate. We do speak English. Aaron needs a try. He's been so good for the Wars. Unfortunately, the Warriors not going to be good today. And the Warriors will officially be out of the top 4. Wow, Bulldogs run home is ridiculous. Roosters, Storm, Panthers, Sharks is disgusting run home for the Bulldogs. Well, you ain't winning the minor premiership, that's for sure. If you win all 4 of those games, you've won the comp, Bulldogs fans. If you win all those games, you've won the comp. If you win 3 out of 4 of those games... Oh, intercept by the Warriors, and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck will score. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck will score, and it's going to be 32-12 with a kick to come. Intercept by Roger. Intercept by the old Roger, baby. Try time for the Warriors. Last try wins, Warriors fans. Last try wins. Bad pass there from Kiros. Just a try every 30 seconds. Comebacks on. Exactly right, Mitchell. You know, keep the faith. Keep believing. Keep believing in the movement, the momentum, the drive of the comeback. It is only a try every 30 seconds. It's actually shorter because you only need 3 converted tries if you get this kick, and that's in 2 minutes. So it's actually a try every maybe 45 seconds. Ish. You know? Okay, this guy's obviously had a bit too much to drink, the old Anthony Tukagi. Infinite Kiwi says that will help the points differential. Mark Parkinson says Storm Panthers finals. Who are we kidding? Please don't do that to us, Mark. Mark, come on, mate. We're trying to really promote happy, healthy, and exciting living here on BK Sport for Rugby League this year, and you're going to try and tell me and sell me this kind of dream that it's a Storm versus Panthers grand final again. If that happens, I am going to physically vomit this way. I'm going to projectile vomit your direction here on the camera if we have to watch again. Storm vs Panthers. Warriors run home. Dragons, Titans, Eels, Manly. Yikes, that's a tricky schedule for him, man. It's tricky. Bethel says Ish. Ish not looking good. Ish not looking good for the Waz. Okay, Anthony's definitely had too much to drink here. Can't go 22-5, 22-5 without losing 5 games. We've got our 5 losses out the way, mate. The issue is, Daz, is that you're not going to win the next. Also, 22-5. That's not how buys work, champion. That's not how buys work. That is not how buys work, there, buddy old pal, old bal, old buddy old bucko, champion, cuz, broski. Sachin Kelton says last try wins, unlucky doggies. Yeah, last try wins. And now, a good running from Tane to Alpeki. Good space. Stephen Crichton taking down to the halfway point for tackle. All right, Samuel Healy out to Harris Tavita. And Harris Tavita will just get whacked down. He gets the offload away to Chance. 50 seconds to go here. Geez, I'm looking forward to a good feed today. Good old Vietnamese feed. Party on King Street. Newey Dogs fans taking over. In Newey. Why are you still in Newcastle? They let it bounce here, the Dogs. Still last try wins, Dogs. You haven't won yet. Go for a field goal, Kirk Capewell, you cat. He doesn't go for the field goal, and it will sit up in the in goal. And that, my friends, is going to be the game of the over. We have finished up the day of footy. We've watched the Dragons beat the Sharks 22-14. We have watched the Roosters beat the Dolphins 64-6. And we have seen the Dogs give it a little bit of a slap and tickle to the Warriors 32-14 here. Oh, wow, Olivia, she remembered us. She remembered us. Thought you forgot about us, Olivia. Thought you forgot about us, Olivia. But Olivia with the $8 donation says, haven't sent my donor for the day. Just got home, so here you go. Appreciate you, Olivia. Appreciate you. Get around you. Get around you. So we'll see you guys all. Tomorrow for the Titans versus Rabbitohs, and also Titans versus Rabbitohs, and also Eels versus the Cowboys. 2 games that don't look great, but definitely could be something based off of that, because we know how rugby league works, to be fair. Warriors, with their loss, they are still in 5th, but the Broncos 2 points behind with a better points differential. Sharks 2 points behind with a better points differential. Dolphins and Roosters 4 points behind, both teams with better points differential. And Manly 6 points behind with a worse off points differential. Just the Dogs, they will go to equal second with the Storm. They'll push their points differential up a little bit, but they're still well behind the Storm. Still a decent enough a bit behind the Raiders, but at the end of the day, the Dogs will stay in third. And that's the top 3 locked up here for 2025, by the way. And the Panthers will not be getting into that top 3, but a top 4 is probably quite likely for them. But there you go, guys. I'll see you tomorrow for 2 games. And let's rock and roll. Let's rock and roll, baby. I'm going to go grab something to eat, that's for sure. All right, thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.